Ma'am Lea, okay na po.
Yes, good afternoon. Let's start, Ma'am Vanch and Ma'am Hazel.
Greetings, everyone. I am Teacher Hazel Hope, your moderator for our Day 2 webinar, together with Teacher Evangeline Dupale of Parang Elementary School. Good afternoon as well, Teacher Vange. Your microphone, Teacher Vange.
Buti na lang naka-mute kasi napaos-paos pa ako doon. So yun, good afternoon po everyone! Good afternoon po sa mga kasama namin dito na mga guro din at mga school heads and master teachers and sa mga supervisors. So we're excited for our day 2, right, Teacher Hazel?
Yes, of course. And here at our YouTube live stream, we have 62 watching right now. And here at Google Meet, we have 7 to 8 participants. Good afternoon as well.
Wow! So yun, can you check, Teacher Hazel, kung okay na yung live chat?
Not yet,
Not
teacher.
yet.
Yes.
So we're not sure no kung may
later.
enable. So pero yung mga viewers sana nga they can send in their greetings to us and also their reactions no kung while yung session natin is ongoing. All right, so we can start now, Teacher Hazel.
Yes, so once again, we welcome you all on the conduct of webinar on early language literacy and numeracy for kindergarten to grade 3 teachers for day 2. So we will begin our webinar with a prayer. Let us all feel the presence of our Lord.
Aming Panginoon, Diyos na mahabagin, ang tunay na nagmamahal sa amin, na iyong pinakamamahal na nilikha. Kami po ngayon ay dumudulog sa iyo upang magpasalamat sa lahat ng biyaya, malaki man ito o maliit, sa pagpahintulot mo na maisagawa ang pagtitipon na ito. Kahit nasa maraming pagsubok na hinaharap namin ngayon, sa araw na ito, inaanyayahan ka namin na samahan kami sa aming paglalakbay tungo sa karunungan at kaalaman na siyang maging instrumento ng aming pagbabalik-bigay sa mga nangangailangan sa amin. Lugod po naming iniaalay sa iyo ang pagtitipon na ito na sana'y maging kaaya-aya ito sa iyo at magbigay parangal sa iyong kabanalan. Hinihingi po namin sa iyo ang pagtatagumpay ng webinar na ito na sana'y maging kaaya-aya ito sa iyo at magbigay tulong sa mga lubos na nangangailangan sa kung anuman ang matutunan namin sa araw na ito. Lahat ng ito ay dinadalangin namin sa pamamagitan ni Jesucristo, iyong anak. Amen.
Okay, so Teacher Vange, we are
Yes,
now...
teacher?
Yes, so kindergarten coordinators are encouraged to check the attendance of kindergarten teachers, grades 1, 2, and 3 teachers here, and please chat it in the chat box. Okay, so let us acknowledge and greet our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent and the OIC Office of the Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Cheryl Gayola, our City Government Department Head 2 and Acting Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Elisa O. Cerveza, our Education Program Supervisor in Kindergarten, Ma'am Leia A. De Leon. Good afternoon, Ma'am Leia.
Hello, hello. Good afternoon, Ma'am Hazel, Ma'am Vange, and of course sa lahat ng mga teachers present ngayon sa day 2 ng ating early language literacy and numeracy. Thank you for being with us once again. I'm hope happy ulit sila, Ma'am Vange, and Ma'am Hazel to be able to join this training. Welcome.
Yes, for sure, ma'am. We'd also like to greet our education program supervisors in charge of English, Mathematics, Filipino, and MTB MLE, our public schools district supervisors, our school heads, our master teachers in charge of kindergarten to grade 3 teachers, our dear coordinators here at Google Meet, and kindergarten to grade 3 teachers via YouTube live stream. A pleasant afternoon po! I'd also like to acknowledge the participants from the different public schools in District 1, Malanday Elementary School, Industrial Valley Elementary School, Kalumpang Elementary School, Leo de Gario Victorino Elementary School, Santo Niño Elementary School, Barangka Elementary School, Malanday Elementary School, and San Roque Elementary School. And for the District 2 schools, Ma'am Vange, take it away.
Okay, we'd like to greet the teachers from Concepcion Elementary School, Concepcion Integrated School, Fortune Elementary School, H. Bautista Elementary School, Kapitan Moy Elementary School, Parang Elementary School, Nangka Elementary School, St. Mary Elementary School, and of course, SSS Village Elementary School.
Okay, and now let us stimulate our minds and bodies and let's have a short and fun game. Isn't it exciting? And without further ado, Parang Elementary School Coordinator, please welcome Teacher Evangeline Dupale to facilitate our warm-up activity.
Thank you, Teacher Hazel. Ang ganda ng introduction mo sa akin. Very energetic.
Oo nga,
Kailangan
Ma'am
maging
Vange.
kailangan, Ma'am Lea, pantayan ko yung energy niya.
Tama,
Ayan.
tapatan talaga, Ma'am Vange. Go, go, go.
Opo. Okay, mga guro, mga kaguro. Ayan, tayo po'y magbubugtungan ngayong umagang ito. Na-miss nyo na rin ba makipagbugtungan? Kasi ako po ay miss na miss ko na. Ayan, so, ang gagawin po natin ay i-chat nyo po para sa mga kasama ko dito sa Google Meet, ito-chat po natin ang tamang sagot. Ayan. At syempre, kung sino pong nauna, yun po ang sino po yung naunang may tamang sagot, yun po ang winner. Pero yung sasabihin ko po mamaya kung ano lang yung bibigyan po ng prize. Ayan. So, abang lang po tayo. Okay. So, sana po excited na rin kayo. Ayan. So, let's start. Yung first slide po. Ayan, ito po ang ating unang bugtong. Kay lapit-lapit na sa mata, di mo pa rin makita. Ayan, ano kaya po yan? Hindi po, hindi po. Kasi nakikita rin natin ang ating ilong. Ayun, very good. Teacher Hazel, can you check sino po ang tamang sagot ay, next slide po. Ang tamang sagot ay tenga. Ayun. So, sino ang nakaunang tamang sagot, teacher?
Okay, so Sam answered ilong, pilik mata, salamin.
Okay.
Tenga.
Opo. Sino pong nakakuha
mata
ng tamang sagot, teacher?
Si Teacher Karen Castro yata, Ma'am Hazel, tama ba? Ang una kong nakita dito, the correct answer.
Ayun, thank you po sa inyo. Ayan, okay.
Teacher Karen.
Next po, next slide. Ayan, bulaklak muna ang dapat gawin bago mo ito kanin. Ayan. So, ano kaya po itong tinutukoy na ito? So, pwede siyang kainin, pero gawin mo daw munang bulaklak. Ang galing, very good. Saging nga. Next slide po. Ayan, di ba kasi po mukha siyang flower? Ang galing ano.
Pagbabalatan, Ma'am Vange.
Opo, okay.
Ang bilis ni teacher. Sino bang nauna dito?
Sino nauna?
Teacher Luwalhati.
Magaling sa buko.
Congratulations.
Ayun.
Galing. Ang bibilis naman nila.
Okay, next. Ang anak ay nakaupo na, ang inay gumagapang pa. Ayan, ano kaya? Oh, yun, meron na. Next slide po. Ang tamang sagot ay kalabasa. Very
Aba,
good.
ma'am, nakita yata yung ano mo, bugtong mo, Ma'am Badge.
Kasi,
Ang bilis nila.
opo, ayan.
Congrats, teacher.
Okay. Next, maliit na bahay, puno ng mga patay. Ayun, ang galing, ang bilis ha. Next slide po, yun ang tamang sagot. Ito ay
Yeah, kabisado
posporo.
na nila to.
Oo.
Naturo na yata nila to, Ma'am Badge.
Ito po, may puno walang bunga, may dahon walang sanga. Iyon, ang galing naman ni Ma'am Emmanuel Pera. Yan, tama, sandok. Okay, next po.
Oh, galing.
Ito, isa ang pasukan, tatlo ang labasan. Ang galing, parang kasi po, Ma'am Leia, pinili ko yung nahirapan akong sumagot.
Pero ang bilis nila,
Ang
Ma'am
bilis
Badge.
nila. Ayun. So,
Wow,
tama
galing,
po kayo,
galing.
damit o t-shirt. Okay, walang sala ay ginapos, tinapakan pagkatapos. Ayan, ano po kaya ito? Okay, next slide. Tama, sapatos nga.
Oh, nakuha agad, Ma'am
Ayun.
Badge.
Opo. Dignidad. Naku, ang lalim ng sagot ni Ma'am. May sumagot ng
Nakuha ni Ma'am
dignidad.
Rutesa yung sapatos.
Opo,
Siya
eto
nauna
na.
nag-type.
Nagbibis araw-araw, nag-iiba ng pangalan. Ano kaya po ito? Sayang sa live chat, no? Wala kasi naka-disable ang ating Next slide po, please. Thank you po. Ayan, tama, kalendaryo.
Oh, yun. Si Ma'am Rezi. Siya nakakuha. Nauna.
Galing. Okay po. Isang butil ng palay, sakop ang buong dapat bahay po to. Sorry po. Isang butil ng palay, sakop ang buong bahay. Yan. Next slide. Ayun po. Tama. Ilaw. Okay. Next po. Next
Ayan, si Ma'am
slide,
Lani ang
please.
nauna.
Ito ang may prize. Kaya mag-ready na po kayo, ha?
Ayan
Ayan,
pa
ako
pala, ma'am.
paunahan. Magbibigay po ako ng 100 GCash. Okay? Hinila ko
Wow.
ang tadyang, lumapad ang tiyan. Ano po kaya yan? Okay. Next slide. Ayan po. Hinila ko ang tadyang, lumapad ang tiyan. Payong!
Payong
Okay,
pala.
Teacher Hazel, can you check po sino nauna sumagot ng payong?
The first one to answer payong is Teacher Rezi.
Ay, Ma'am
Wow,
Rezi!
oo nga,
Ma'am Rezi!
galing.
Cut niyo po yung
Congratulations.
niya.
Congrats, Ma'am Rezi. Kasi
Yung
iba ma'am ang
iyo.
sagot nila ay belt or
Opo,
cinturon.
opo.
Pero tama
Thank you,
Ma'am
Teacher
Rezi.
Vanch.
Pa-chat po
Yay.
yung nyo, yung number
PM
niyo
ko
po
na lang sa inyo,
Gcash.
ma'am.
Opo, baka marami kang maging textmate eh. Sige po.
Thank you.
PM na lang.
Congrats, Ma'am Rezi.
Thank you, Mama. Salamat
Thank
po.
you, Ma'am Vanch.
Ayan. Thank you din po, Ma'am Leia.
Ayan, talagang na-warm up sila doon, Ma'am Vanch, ha? Nagising lahat kasi excited silang mag-type ng sagot. Oh,
Opo.
naging very active ang bawat participants dito. Thank you.
That was so exciting, Teacher Vange. I'm sure everyone had fun and helped boost creative thinking. So
Yeah,
thank you
meron
very
pa
much
yata
for
yan,
the
ma'am.
engaging
Tama ba bukas?
activity. Yes, so there's another one tomorrow. Okay, so now let's go to our webinar proper. Our first speaker to discuss the use of Marungko approach for beginning reading, Master Teacher 1, OIC, Office of the School's Principal of Santo Niño Elementary School, Ma'am Annalisa M. Paz. Good afternoon, Ma'am Annalisa.
Good afternoon. Thanks so much, Ma'am Hazel. Good afternoon po sa lahat. Simula po sa ating mahal na SDS, sa ating ASDS, sa lahat po ng EPSS, PSDSS, kay Ma'am Leia, of course, for giving me another opportunity like
Ma'am
this one.
Annalisa.
To my
Thank
fellow
you, Ma'am.
master teachers who are in this GMeet, sa lahat din po ng aking mga kasamang school heads, although hindi pa ako officially school head, kunwari lang.
Soon, Ma'am Anna, soon.
Hopefully,
Go,
ma'am.
go.
Thank you po. And of course, to all my dear K-3 teachers po who are with us right now dito sa GMeet na ito at saka who are watching live via YouTube. First time ko na nasa YouTube live ako, Wala kasi kung video,
Wow,
ma'am.
this is history,
Oo,
Ma'am
no, this is the
Annalisa.
first time. Oh, yes, ma'am,
First
history po
time sa
ito. So
YouTube.
usually Facebook Live lang, ma'am, not
Yeah, more
via
of
YouTube.
this, Ma'am Ana.
So, okay. Okay, again, magandang hapon po. This topic assigned to me is not anymore new po. Hindi po siya bago, luma na siya. It's the use of Marungko approach for the teaching of beginning reading, which I have shared po for quite a number of times in the division of Marikina po na-share ko na po siya noong 2019, if you still remember, sa ELLN training din po. Yung pong cluster siya na nandun tayo dun sa MES, nandun tayo sa Marikina Convention. If you will still remember, this is the same presentation that I'll be showing you. And this is also the same thing that I showed po dun sa remedial group po of English and Filipino who are tasked to make worksheets po just a few months ago, which is headed by Ma'am Janet Kahugiran. So there's nothing new po for some of you here, and especially those people po na alam na itong technique na to. But then again, it's nice po, then syempre, to somehow revisit ho from time to time para at least aware po tayo, paano ba talaga to? Kasi minsan may nakakalimutan po tayo, di ba? Paano ba talaga dapat gamitin ito? At bakit ba palaging si Marungko na lang ng si Marungko ang palaging pinagpipilitan natin na gamitin natin sa pagtuturo ng beginning reading in Filipino? But before I go into that one, into the discussion of the Marungko technique or the Marungko approach, I'd like to share with you things that has been shared to us when I was attending seminar pa po noon, training po for the National English Proficiency Program. These points are not from me po, pero this was consolidated by no less than the mother of mother tongue po, si Dr. Villanesa, together with her group for the National English Proficiency Program, which was held in 2007 pa. And from then on, tinandaan ko po itong mga sinishare nila na ito, which are some sort of guide po sa atin sana when we are teaching beginning reading and reading per se po. These are, of course, sandali po, i-share ko pala yung aking presentation. Wait lang po.
Yeah, Miss Kat Pasuyo, stop presenting na para makapag-present si Ma'am Ana. Thank you.
Wala pa nakikita mo, Maris? Meron na? Oh, nakikita niyo na po ang presentation ko, mga ma'am. Meron na po.
Yes, Ma'am Ana, meron na.
Okay. I'd like to begin this session by telling you the core understandings po of learning to read po. These are somehow some sort of a guide for all of us teachers po in crafting our lessons, in dealing with our kids, para pag naalala po natin ito, sana maging guide po natin when we are preparing our lessons po for our children. Okay? Learning to read, reading as language po. Now, we have to remember po, reading is a construction of meaning from text. So it is an active, cognitive, and affective process po. So hindi ko siya masyadong i-elaborate because more of these core understandings po are somehow self-explanatory po ha. Pero gusto ko pong matandaan po sana natin lahat itong core understandings na isi-share po. Although I've shared this so many number of times po, but I do hope each one of us will always be remembering ho this from the heart. Kasi ako ho, ito talaga yung batayan ko, ang aking parang Bible po in the crafting and the teaching of beginning reading po and reading po in itself. Now, second po, reading as language is, we have to remember that background knowledge po and prior experiences are critical to the reading process. Alam natin na hindi lang tayo sa school ang nagsisimula ng pagbabasa. Right then and there sa bahay po, may alam na rin po ang ating mga batang tinuturuan. So we have to remember that background knowledge and prior experience are very critical to the reading process. Next po, social interaction is essential po in learning to read. Hindi po pwedeng magbabasa lang po sa isang tabi yung bata. Kailangan there should be social interaction for them to learn how to read better po. And then the fourth one po, we should always remember, ito po tinandaan ko to talaga eh, reading and writing develop together. Not one taught na solo lang po siya. So we have to teach reading alongside with the teaching po of writing because they do develop together po. That's LEA, that's language experience approach. That's one principle that we have really to parang sort of remember po always. And then the fifth one, reading as learning naman po. Reading as learning, reading involves complex thinking. Hindi simple thinking lang eh, mahirap talaga. Kaya pag nagtuturo po tayo simula sa kindergarten, hindi pwedeng, ito ganyan lang. Hindi mo pwedeng iintindi lang agad sa bata ng ganun-ganun kasi it really involves complex thinking po. Then the next one, environment po rich in literacy experiences, resources, and models po facilitate the reading development. So if you will notice sa classroom, meron po tayong reading corner, di po ba? Sa classroom, pwede tayong maglagay ng mga signages na nag-i-initiate po ng pagkakatuto ng pagbasa ng ating mga bata. Pero right now that we are having the distance education, pwede ho natin itong ipagawa sa ating mga magulang sa bahay po nila. They could have an environment rich in literacy experiences right there po sa kanilang mga sariling bahay. Then another one po, engagement po in the reading task is key in successfully learning to read. Kailangan engage po ang mga bata natin sa reading task. Then another one is children's understandings of print are not the same as our understanding. Iba po yung intindi nila, so really have to explain to them kung ano ba tungkol sa yung binabasa nila. So this is a very important thing for us to remember. Iba ang pangunawa ng bata sa print than our pangunawa po, ha? And the next one po is children develop phonemic awareness. This is a very important teaching activity in kindergarten on towards grade 2 po. And the knowledge of phonics po through a variety of literacy opportunities, models, and demonstrations. So ibig sabihin, marami po tayong dapat ibigay sa kanila na activities, strategies po para po ma-develop yung kanilang PA or the phonemic awareness and phonics po. And we really should demonstrate. And of course, children learn successful reading strategies in the context of real reading. Yung totoong pagbabasa po, hindi pagmememorya lang. Then another one is children learn best. You should remember this, my dear teachers. Children learn best po when teachers employ a variety of strategies to model and demonstrate reading knowledge, strategy, and skills. Kaya nga po, ang dami-dami po, if you will just go over the net, you will browse po over the book and our lesson plan, lesson exemplars. Ang dami-dami po natin pwedeng gamitin na strategies po in the teaching of reading. And of course, our children po really need the opportunity to read. Kaya po tayo meron tinatawag na reading across all learning areas. So hindi lang sa English, hindi lang sa Filipino, hindi lang sa mother tongue pwedeng bigyan ng oportunidad to read. We can do that with math, katulad ng sinabi kahapon, like math kwento, di po ba? Meron tayo din sa science, we have science story and all the other things like this one, ay pwede natin kaya tayo merong tinatawag na reading across learning areas because they really need the opportunity po to read. Next one po, monitoring. This one is parang nalimutan ko to dati, then I inserted this one just last night. Monitoring the development of the reading processes is vital to student success. Dapat na monitor natin yung progress nung bawat mag-aaral po natin. So this one is very, very important. And then the last one po, cognitive growth and social and emotional experiences po shape children's reading and writing development. So, yan po, learning to read, other than the core understanding, we should also remember po some principles then po in reading instruction. Now, number one, the first one is laying the foundation po for lifelong readers and writers start early and represents a unique balance of competence, motivation, accessibility, and experience in print. So it's very important po that we lay that foundation. We help lay the foundation po. And this one, talagang alam na alam natin to. Children begin to read at different ages. So we should not be mad, we should not be angry. If our kid na grade 5 na siya, grade 6 na siya, nag-struggle pa siya to read. Kasi nga po, children talaga begin to read at different ages. And we should do something po about that. Pag medyo nandun na siya sa papagraduate na ng grade 6, hindi pa ho siya marunong magbasa. Now, number 3, background knowledge, the way this one, nabasa na rin natin kanina to sa core understanding. But then again, you reiterate the principle in the teaching of reading. Background knowledge and exposure to a print and non-print environment, as well as electronic sources po, really shape the children's ability and interest po to read. So talagang pag marami po yung exposure niya sa print at saka non-print environment, ito po talaga yung makakatulong sa kanya in developing and making him learn how to read. And then, children master particular skills, strategies, and knowledge at designated points that are foundational and requisite for later, more complex, higher order skills and strategies po. Siyempre po, step by step, mamaya po makikita niyo po yung stages in learning to read, which I will be sharing po in a little while. And the next one po, learning to read is a complex task, paulit-ulit mo sinasabi, that involves cognitive and metacognitive skills and strategies po. Now, advocating a balance also between word recognition and meaning-based instruction, phonics and whole language principle and practice are very necessary. That's another principle. Then also po, we should always remember din po, the teaching of decoding skills will not be taught in isolation, or only through drill and practice. So hindi pwedeng baby bobo lang yung ituturo mo. So meaning-making engagement activities po, which there are a lot that we can surf over the net po ulit. At hindi lang sa net, yung mga na-share na din po sa atin, will provide the balance po of explicit phonics instruction. Okay, and this one, alam na ho natin, the days of only one skill per lesson is really over years ago pa po. The interweaving po of thinking, reading, speaking, listening, writing, and viewing are really given primacy. So dapat tagni-tagni po siya, tahi-tahi. Hindi lang pwedeng reading lang, hindi pwedeng speaking lang, dapat pagkakasama po sila lahat. And then again, to be successful readers, we should teach our children po to be strategic readers who know which strategy, what strategies po, to apply to a given type or genre. Okay. So sana po yung mga principles, yung core understanding po, we should always go back, revisit po those words pagka medyo nakakalimutan po natin. So we may be all po guided po on how to really craft our lesson in the teaching of beginning reading. Now, what are the goals of beginning reading? Ba't ba tayo nagtuturo ng beginning reading? Number 1 is for the development of genuine love for reading. Yung tinatawag natin na GLR. Kasi pag na-develop natin yan, hindi mo na siya ipupush na magbasa. Siya na mismo yung magbabasa. If you remember yung 4-prong, yan ang stage 1 niya. GLR, developing GLR or the genuine love for reading. Now, second is we have to develop kasi comprehension and critical thinking skills. And of course, yung oral language development and the correct use of language structures. And of course, another goal of beginning reading po is the development of word attack or the decoding skills. So we are just reviewing po, my dear fellow teachers po ha. And of course, the ultimate goal of teaching reading is to create lifelong readers. When we say lifelong readers po, they are not merely equipped po with reading skills and strategies. Hindi lang sila marunong magbasa. They have the driving force po to keep reading and they have the will to read. Yan po yung dapat natin talagang ultimate goal ng teaching po ng reading sa mga bata. Yung kusa na talaga silang magbabasa because they really have developed that genuine love for reading po. And I do know that many of us here alam na kung paano po yan gawin. Now, there are stages po in learning to read which all of us teachers should always be guided po. And these are the stages po. The stages in learning to read is the first stage is yung getting ready, paghahanda. Next one po is learning the letters. Then we have phonics and word recognition po, and then comes fluency and comprehension. Yung po ang pagkakasunod-sunod, kaya nga po siya stages. Mauuna po yung getting ready, susunod ang learning the letters, susunod po ang pagtuturo ng phonics and word recognition. Pag bihasa na sila dyan, automatically comes fluency po, and then we are developing successful readers na mayroon na pong comprehension. Okay, stage 1, getting ready. Ano-ano ba yung under sa kanya? Number 1 is yung OL natin or yung oral language. Then we have the PA, both phonological awareness and phonemic awareness. Then we are teaching book and print knowledge, di po ba? Then we are developing the perceptual skills. We have the auditory perception and discrimination, and we have visual perception and discrimination. And then we have the fine motor skills po. So sa oral language, this one we are already doing by the start of kindergarten, even at home po. Number 1 is we can develop yung oral language po through story reading, through sharing of nursery rhymes. So pag mapapansin niyo po, we are on the right track. Sa kinder pa lang, ito ginagawa na. Songs and finger plays. We have games, we have interaction, then we have discussion. These are just 6 of how you can develop the oral language skill po of our children. Now, how to develop phonemic awareness po? Of course, we have the PA task, namely the phonemic isolation, phoneme identity, phoneme categorization. Alam ko po, marami sa atin alam na alam yan, kaya niraran ko lang po. Developing phonemic awareness, we have manipulation. When we manipulate, we blend, we segment, we add, we delete, we substitute. And then, we teach phonological awareness by detecting rhyming words. Kaya sa kinder pa lang, which word rhymes? Sa grade 1, meron din yan. Then we have to count the syllables, both in English po and Filipino, yung rhyming words, yung counting the syllables. The stage 2 po now comes after getting ready, developing ng OL, we come stage 2, which is learning the letters. Tinuturo na natin yung letter names, ano yung upper tsaka lower case ng letter. Yes, ma'am. Sa kinder po talaga meron na, di po Ma'am Lea. Then writing the letter form.
Yes, Ma'am Ana.
Opo, ma'am. So parang
Thank you yan. Kaya sa bawat session, di ba, nung kinder, kung nakakapag-observe yung mga kinder teachers, school heads natin, pasimula pa lang ng klase, andyan na yung mga learners natin kumakanta,
yes, ma'am.
Naglalaro sila, sumasayaw, kasi it's one way of preparing them and setting the tone for them to be able to get ready to learn.
Yes, ma'am. Opo.
Sa school natin.
Opo. So they learn now the consonant sounds if the children are being prepared for to read in English, and then the letter sounds naman po, and blending this after learning 3 letters, ito po yung Marungko, to form the words naman po in Filipino. So this is the sequence of presenting po the consonant sounds. Yan po talaga yung sequence, starting with the letter M po, tapos on towards po the letter Y or yung sound po ng Y. And then of course, yung stage 3 po ng learning to read is the phonics and word recognition naman po development. Dito na po pumapasok ngayon yung Fuller technique. You teach po the short vowel words in CBC pattern. Hindi ko po yan i-deepen kasi there's another session po right after me for the Fuller technique. So pinapakita lang po natin na when you develop your phonics and word recognition skill po na ating mga bata, we can make use po talaga of the Fuller technique kasi word families po ito. And then we have in Filipino naman po, we have the Marungko approach. Ayan din po. Mamaya ko po yan tatalakayin in full color. So sa Marungko, maaari na ang batang magbasa po ng maikling salita sa 3 leksyon. So binubuo yun ng mga letra na pag-aralan na. And then of course, stage 4 po, which is very, very important at sana lahat tayo matagumpay na marating ang stage na ito, comes now the fluency and text comprehension. When we say fluency po, it's reading aloud grade level text without hesitation. Pag sinabi natin fluent, dire-diretso siya. Walang hesitation sa pagbabasa at may proper expression. Then we have text comprehension. It is understanding po what one has read. And then how to develop fluency, one activity could be phrase reading, pwedeng oral, pwedeng repeated reading. And then how can we develop po text comprehension? We can do discussion, cooperative group activities, na iyan po lahat ginagawa na natin. Pag titinan niyo yung ating teacher's guide, lahat po ito ay nakapaloob na dito. Starting from kinder to grade 3 on towards po pagdating din ng, sa grade 4 hindi na masyado kasi more on talagang ano na sila. So steps in discussing story, alam na din po natin ito, how to discuss. May pre-reading activity, syempre, may unlocking ng difficult words, alam na natin yan. May motivation, motive question. Then we have during reading activities, these are questions po to monitor. We can make use of the RTA. We have post-reading activities, a lot of activities that we're giving to the kids. This composes po talaga of the components po in learning to read. Nagdi-discuss ka lang ng story na tinuturuan mo na rin siyang magbasa. So, may thank you po dyan, pero I'm not yet through because I'm about to begin po discussing naman po my real topic. Dinaanan ko lang po yon, parang some sort po of a review kasi po kailangan po natin siyang paminsan-minsan balikan, i-revisit para po we always reminded po kung paano po talaga yung pagtuturo ng beginning reading. Although ito po yung topic talaga na naka-assign po sa akin. Please, sandali lang po ha.
Okay, thank you Ma'am Ana for presenting that first part po dun para sa ating beginning reading para mas maging malinaw sa mga teachers natin na pag kinder, ito pala yung level of readiness na dapat ginagawa ko o role ko as a kinder teacher. Sa grade 1, ito na rin dapat ang role ko na ginagawa na dapat alam na nila yung mga letters, yung mga sounds, may simple words na siya nalalaman. Grade 2, dapat may phrasing na siya and sentences. And then sa grade 3, andyan na yung paragraph and simple stories natin. So bawat isa sa atin. All of us are reading teacher, di ba Ma'am Ana? Lagi sinasabi yan sa atin. Kasi ramdam ko yan na grade 3 ako, matagal ako sa grade 3. Lahat ng subject tinuturo, kaya lahat ng subject ay reading subject natin noon. Yan.
Opo. Nakikita na po ulit ma'am yung presentation ko mga ma'am.
Yes ma'am.
Opo. So I'll continue po. Ito talaga yung topic ko, although I've shared this so many times po. It's a very good thing po to revisit kasi kung mapapansin nyo, even just recently po, 2019, 2020, 2017, backwards po, marami pong researches din ginagawa on this approach po na sabi natin dati nang ginagamit, di po ba? So makikita natin bakit ba palagi na lang sa DepEd Marikina yung Marungko palaging sinasama sa na ito ganito ka dapat magturo, gumamit ka ng Marungko. Kasi po ito po yung isa sa dahilan why the Marungko approach. If you will see, I'm presenting po snapshots po of recent researches po made po using the Marungko approach. So marami pong division, maraming teachers po all over the country are really trying investigate kahit alam na proven method na itong Marungko. Nire-research pa rin nila, kino-compare nila sa ibang methodology ng pagtuturo po ng beginning reading o pag-enhance po ng reading ability ng ating mga bata. So dito sa research na ito, pinakita na kahit yung Orton Gillingham ang ina-assess nila, napatunayan nila na yung Marungko, same level pa rin ng effectiveness po, just like the Orton Gillingham approach po. And then there's another one, this one I was able to browse po over the net. I've shared this po then do sa English remedial reading webinar namin a few months ago, itong same researches po, na doon po sa contest po ng Simeo, meron po dito isang eskwelahan sa somewhere in, I think this is in Quezon, it's Ahos Elementary School. Meron silang project na ginawa, is Project Nanay Ko, Tutor Ko, ang Marungko approach. Tinuruan nila sila nanay, na actually this one, kaya ko po ito sinishare, something we can adapt then in the respective schools po. Na si nanay, kasi ngayon distance learning po tayo, di ba Ma'am Lea? Hindi po tayo pwedeng basta magturo nitong OIPON technique. Yes, ma'am. Siya po yung pwede nating turuan. Paano ba itong pagtuturo ng Marungko sa aking mga anak? Kasi yung pagsasound, etc. Makikita niyo po mamaya. So parang yung project na sinasabi dito, something we can adapt really in our respective schools po. Teach our nanay or our mga lola, yung mga tatay, paano ba si Marungko? Para yung ating kinder, yung ating grade 1, kahit paano po, matututo sila ng pagbabasa kahit distance learning po tayo ngayon. Other than, of course, supplying them with the materials po, yung mga ating worksheets na pwede natin gawin, yung mga video lesson na pwede natin gawin. So, pwede sila mismo i-train natin. So, ito ginamit nilang intervention na nakafocus sa development talaga ng printed materials po. So, sinishare ko lang po yan. Ano po? So, wait lang. So ayan po. So another research po na ginawa din is tiningnan nila yung effectiveness din po, intervention program for non-reader pupils. That's why if you will notice sa remedial reading program ng ating division, Marungko at Fuller po ang pinagagawa natin ng worksheet at saka ng video lessons right now po. So I'm also part of that po, kaya nasi-share ko po ito sa inyo. So, iyan po, use of Marungko approach in the teaching of beginning. Other than sabi nila effective ito sa remediation, it's really effective in teaching po beginning reading. Kasi nga po, it's teaching the sounds of the letter. So, ayan. Meron naman tinatawag sa Bicol, ano po, other than may Claveria sila doon, tapos meron pa silang tinatawag na Maro approach. Pero certainly po, ito pong Maro approach ng teacher na ito in 2019 when she did the research. At ito po ay isang workbook po na madadownload nyo sa LRMDS po ng DepEd natin, DepEd LRMDS. Naka-upload po itong libro na ito, isang buong series po yan ng lesson, pero pinattern po lang niya sa Marungko yung pagtuturo. The way Marungko is being taught, ganun din po. Ang iniba lang po niya dyan ay ang pagkakasunod-sunod po ng mga letra. Pero basically, it's really Marungko at talagang yun din po ang ginamit niya kasi alam niya kung gaano ka-effective po ang pagtuturo ng pag-beginning reading po gamit po ang Marungko approach. So, ayan po. So, sabi nga po, let's dig deeper po, review ulit natin. Ano ba si Marungko? Saan ba siya nanggaling? Marungko po ay first inintroduce po sa public elementary school po sa Angat, Bulacan. It's in Marungko, Angat, Bulacan. So if you will notice, si Marungko pala ay pangalan ng lugar sa Bulacan. So it was devised by Ali Norayan and Urbano, and this was demonstrated in their book. Honestly telling you, wala po akong kopya nung original na libro nila. At wala din po akong formal training in Marungko. This came along lang po by having so many researches po about Marungko. Naghanap po ako sa internet, saan ba siya galing, saan ba nagmula, paano ba ginagawa, ano ba ang ginagamit, ganun po. So, I think marami po sa atin merong kopya ng libro na ito, lalo na po yung mga seasoned teachers ng DepEd Marikina na nakabilang po sa first ever training po ng Marungko so many years back na hindi pa ho ako teacher ng DepEd before. So, ayan po. Now, the method Marungko, this method is called Pono-Silabi because it emphasizes po the teaching of correct single sounds and the handling of these sounds into syllables po or words rather than the teaching of the alphabet or the abacada. If I may remember, nung ako po ay bata, hindi po sounds ang tinuturo ng teacher po. Minimemorya namin yung tinatawag nila, hindi kasi kartilya ang tawag sa amin nun eh. It's the abacada book. Abacada di ba? Papamemorya sa iyo yung alphabet, tapos babe, bibo, buka, keki, koko. Then pag mimix mo yung syllables, baka, buko. That is how I learned po to read. This Marungko po, it emphasizes po the teaching of the correct single sounds and the handling of these sounds po into syllables or words. Now, the names of the letters of the alphabet are not taught. Hindi po sila tinuturo agad-agad until all the sounds have been mastered in association po with their form. So, ang pinapakita po ay form at sinasound po ito ni teacher. Okay, mamaya po makikita niyo po yan. So, the Marungko approach po is actually designed to equip our grade 1 pupils with the necessary reading skills po to improve their achievement in reading. It also seeks po to develop a training model to enhance po teachers' competence in the teaching of reading in the primary grades, most especially po in grade 1. Now, the goal of the strategy po in reading is to enable the grade 1 pupils to instill in their minds, excuse me po to appreciate po the songs and poems po created for Filipino children. So marami tayong tula na ginawa po para sa ating mga bata. So isa po to sa goal po ng stratehiyang to. So, at eventually po ma-communicate nila po in written and oral forms through effective reading instruction po. Next one. Hindi po Ayan. It provides materials po to the success in the teaching in teaching reading po, and starts with letter sounds. I repeat po, it starts with the teaching of the letter sounds rather than name. So it's certain comical stories of the letter. You can make use of that. Pwede kayong parang magkwento ng story about the letter to signify its sounds are being introduced. Now, instead of the usual arrangement or the order of the alphabet po, it starts with the letter M, S, A, I, O, and so on. Mami, makikita niyo po yung pagkakasunod-sunod. Now, it's almost the same to the sequence po of the letters in mother tongue, in the K-12 curriculum for grade 1. So, pagkapareho lang po siya halos. So, pag magtuturo po kayo, pwede natin gamitin po yung curriculum po ng mother tongue for our grade 1. So, considering that there is no single reading material po available for grade 1 pupils, it is of great help po to help design and craft po a sole reading material for the learners that will serve as gateway po to improve their reading skills. So, ibig sabihin, tayo mga teacher, pwede nating gamitin si Marungko at gumawa tayo ng sarili nating material, learning material po, LMs, para magamit po ng ating mga mag-aral, which we can also share with other teachers po of the division. So, yung ginagawa po namin right now for remedial, pwede rin po itong gamitin ng lahat ng guro natin, hindi lang po yung mga nag-remedial teaching po, kundi yung mismo nagtuturo po ng reading po sa ating mga bata, di ba? Yung ating K-3 teachers po. Wait po ha. Okay. The Marungko approach in teaching reading. Marungko is a technique which is, again, instead of the usual arrangement or order of the letters, it starts with M, S, A, I, and so forth. So, ipo yun ha. The alphabets are rather pronounced than read. So, in the alphabet, M would be pronounced as M, not the old Pinoy style of reading it as Ma. Ma, me, mi, mo. Hindi po pag pinakita mo yung alphabet na M, sasabihin mo, kung matatandaan nyo po, dati, ang kinakanta natin, abakada, egaha, ila, mananga, di po ba? Pero, a few years ago, pinalitan ho natin yan ng alphabet song na A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, N, di po ba? Pinalitan po natin ito kasi pag ang ginagamit natin sa pagtuturo ng kanta is yung abakada, ega, malilito po yung bata on how to sound po the letters of the alphabet. That is one of the reason po kung ba't yung pong song natin ng alphabet in Filipino ay pinalitan po ng A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Parang kung paano po siya pinopronounce sa English, ganun din po siya kinakanta sa atin in Filipino. I remember po yes po ma'am. Opo ma'am, mali po yung basa nila. Yeah, bata tama po. So, I'd like to share to you, it's not a funny story, but one of my colleagues po called me po when we had this assignment po in mother tongue. Grade 3 po ito ha. Mother tongue, kung saan ang assignment po ay baybayin ang mga sumusunod na salita. For example, kapitbahay. Nagtatanong siya, bakit daw ganun yung pagbabaybay? Di ba daw ang pagbabaybay nun ay ka, a, pa, i, ta? So sabi ko, ay ma'am, hindi po. Kasi reading teacher din po siya, if I may share. She used to be a reading teacher in the primary level po in our very own division. Pero sabi ko po sa kanya, ma'am, hindi na po. Ang pagbabaybay po niyan ay kung paano po siya binabaybay. Ang pagbabaybay din po niyan ay, for example, bahay, B-A-H-A-Y. So kung paano siya binabasa dun sa alphabet in English, ganun din ang pagbabaybay sa kanya sa Filipino. Hindi yung ba, a, ha, a, ya. Kaya pag binasa ng bata yung bahay, bahaya. Di po ba? Naka-experience na kayo siguro somewhere during your teaching life in years ago po na ang basa po ng bata sa bahay ay bahaya. Kasi alam niya yung waya. Para sa tao, waya. So, dito po, yung Marungko, yung sound po, pinopronounce po, yung alphabet, hindi po ng ma, kundi M. So, yun po ha, sana po tandaan po natin yan. Huwag po tayo magtuturo. Kasi, one more thing po, minsan nagpapabasa kami sa bata, nagtataka ako bakit nagbibilang yung bata sa daliri. Sige ma'am, gaganyan, nagbibilang siya. Yung pala yung ba, baby, bobo. Ma'am, ba, Parang gano'n. So sabi ko, sino ba ang teacher mo, anak?
Ay,
Di
oo,
ba?
ma'am.
Parang
Ano
gano'n.
yan?
So we are asking, then we are trying to correct the teacher, ma'am, wag pong ganito ang pagtuturo. Because hanggang grade 4, hanggang grade 5, ma'am, mga ma'am, pangay-pangay nung bata yung nagbibilang sa daliri. So that is now po that is not how we should teach reading po to our kids. So reminder po yun, mga ma'am, ha. Kasi talagang pag nagpabasa ka, talaga nagbibilang siya. Rote reading nga, Ma'am Lea, tama po.
Oo.
Ayan po.
Relate ako dyan, Ma'am Ana. Kasi yung, ayan, kwento ko ng sandali. Yung
Sige po,
pamangkin
ma'am.
ko sa kay husband, parang grade 1 yata, grade 2, parang magpapaturo na pagbabasa kasi hirap talaga siya. Nung sinabi ko, pinakita ko yung alphabet para ma-check ko kung na-identify niya yung mga letters ng alphabet. Bibilangin niya talaga din muna sa kamay niya para
Yes,
niya
ma'am.
malaman kung anong letter ito. Kasi
Opo,
yun
ma'am.
pala ang paraan ng pagtuturo ni teacher niya is yung rote reading nga. May memorize mo lang na
Yes, ma'am.
ba, be, bi, bo, bu.
Yes, ma'am.
Be, yan. Na ganyan na siya. Tapos,
Yes, ma'am, ganun nga.
de, di, do po yan, do.
No.
So,
So
mali
sana po,
po.
mga ma'am, ha, opo, we should be reminded of that na kawawa po yung bata kasi talaga hindi siya makaka-adapt. So wag pong ganon. We should teach them yung talagang proper way. And this is one of the
Yes,
proper way, yung
sounds.
Marungko approach po. Opo. So after that first 3 sounds po have been mastered, ma'am, napakita ko po yan sa inyo. This can be combined now to form words, phrases, or sentences po. Every new sound is introduced with previous sounds already learned in various combination po into words. So, i-introduce natin yung function words that cannot be taught through the phonosyllabic method. Ito po yung tinatawag naman natin na sight words naman in Filipino. So, hindi siya pwedeng ituro using the phonosyllabic method. So, these are the whole words o yung ating tinatawag na sight words in Filipino. For example, ng, mga, I, and the like po. So, yun po. So, how to use the Marungko lessons? The first 5 lesson ay as follows. Yung lesson 1 po is M. Yung lesson 2 po is A, pero A po yan ha, yung sound. Lesson 3 po is the letter S, then lesson 4 is I, lesson 5 po is the O. This is the first lesson. We teach each sound po, paano po pagtuturo ha, ituturo mo muna yung tunog to form mastery before a new sound is to be introduced. So kailangan ma-master muna ni bata yung sound ng letra na yon. Now, we can ask a question to which the response will elicit the target sound. Ma'am, pakita ko po yan. Write the target letter on the board and tell the children to sound it again as they look at the letter. So, isusulat mo, hindi mo ito introduce na ito ay letter M. Papasound mo siya sa bata. So, teach each sound and form to mastery before a new sound is introduced. You show them how to write it. So, tulad ng dating ginagawa natin, isusulat sa pisara, gagamitin na ang kamay, write on the air, on the palm. Alam ko yung mga grade 1 natin, sanay dito pagpa-practice na pagsusulat. Isusulat sa desk, dun sa papel, as they give po the sound of the letter. So, ito yung po sinasabi ng reading and writing develop together. Sinasound niya, isinusulat niya. So, susulat niyang ganyan. So, papakita niya. And mastery po means they know the sound and give the form of the target letter. So, nabibigay niya yung tunog na isusulat niya yung symbol ng letter, yung mismong letra. So, ayan po. Ito po yung pagkakasunod-sunod na letra, ng mga letra. Although doon sa original book po ng Marungko, hindi po ito yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng letra niya, except for, yung po ito kasi, after the letter O, teaching of B. Yung pong sa isa, doon sa original book po ni Nurayhan at Urbano, parang iba po yung pagkakasunod-sunod niya. Pero kahit po sana kung mag-research, pati po ito rin po ang binigay sa ating pagkakasunod-sunod ng pagtuturo po ng letra sa Marungko ni Doc Felipado and all the reading experts po. Kaya ito rin po yung sinishare ko sa inyo. Kasi there's another book po, yung parang libro talaga ni Marungko. Iba yung, may nagkapalit dito na ilang po mga letra. Hindi ko po alam ang reason, kung ba't ito na po yung pinapakita. Kahit saan po kayo tumingin ng materials na pwedeng reference for Marungko, ito po yung pagkakasunod-sunod. I still have yet to check po with further research, but ito po. Pero this is from Felipado at saka iba pong mga masters po ng pagtuturo po ng Marungko. Other than the original po na proponent po ng Marungko. Oo. Before sa A po, before S, sa original na nakita niya. Yes, Ma'am Daphne, opo. Pero ito na po yung ginagamit ng mas marami po. You can download po pati si Doc Felipado, when I attended po several of her trainees po, ito po yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng letra. So, you have yet to verify po. Well, anyway, ang importante po ay maturo po natin ito, yung strategiya na ito sa ating mga bata. So, panimulang pagbasa, paano ang gagawin? Panimulang pagbasa, Dulog Marungko na tuklas ni Norayhan Ani at Josefina Urbano ng Bulacan. So, dapat bigyan muna ng sapat na kakayahan sa pagbasa bago turo ang bumasa. Mahalaga na sa bawat tunog na ituturo ay kasama ang lahat ng mga tunog sa iba't ibang kombinasyon. Hindi iwan sa pagpapasya ng guro ang pagtuturo ngayon ng malaking letra. So, ibig sabihin, yung small letters lang muna ang ituturo natin. Iminumungkahi kasi na ituro ito kapag master na ang lahat ng maliit na letra. So, small letters lang po muna tayo, mga ma'am, ha? Then, pagbigkas ng mga tunog sa kwento, bugtong, tula, at iba pa. At pinapayuhan din tayo na gumamit ng tunay na bagay, so realia. Pwede rin gumamit ng larawan, ng flashcard, ng chart, ng cutouts, o mga laro para maging kawili-wili at mapanatili ang interes ng mga mag-aaral. Now, ituturo natin ng isang tunog, isang araw para lubusan pong matutunan, hindi po siya ulit sabay-sabay. So, ito po yung mungkahing ituturong po tunog sa bawat markahan. So, pwede po natin yung gawing guide when we are grade 1 teacher po o kaya kinder. So, ayan po yung groupings niya. Ano po? Ito po ay galing din po sa ating butihing Dr. Felipado, isa po sa reading expert sa buong Pilipinas. Ano po? Yan po yon. So, may mga antas o mga stages o hakbang or steps ng pagbasa po gamit ang dulog ng Marungko. Yung unang stage o unang antas, ang dapat pong gawin natin, pagpapakilala ng mga larawan. So, magpapakita ka muna ng picture at bagay na nagsisimula dun sa tunog na pinag-aaralan nyo. Tapos, ipapakilala mo yung tunog. Papakita mo ngayon yung hugis ng tunog at ipapakita mo ngayon yung letra. So, ihuhugis mo siya, i-illustrate mo by writing in the air, tapos ipapakita mo ngayon ano yung letrang yon. So, sa unang antas, pagpapakilala ng larawan, mga bagay na nagsisimula sa tunog na pinag-aaralan. For example, ano ang nakikita niyong nasa larawan? So, sasagot syempre ang bata, ano po yan mga ma'am? Mais. I-emphasize nyo, mais. O, ito, ano naman to nakikita mo anak?
Mangga.
Mangga, yes. Opo, mangga. O, ito, ano yan? Manok. Okay, manok. Ito. Mansanas. Mansanas. With emphasis po sa unang tunog. Oo. Now, ito. Ano, nakikita sa larawan? Mani. O, ang mani ay masarap. Actually po, sa pagpapakita po ng bawat larawan, pwede na kayong magdagdag pa ng konting kwento para makarelate yung bata. Ito, ano to mga bata?
Manika.
Okay, sabi nung teacher dito sa tabi ko, manika. Pero pag pinakita mo yan sa estudyante mo, ano ang isasagot sa'yo?
Barbie.
Teacher Barbie yan. So, ito po ay parang isang reminder to all of us teachers, we make use of the correct picture po na hindi siya malilito dun sa letra o dun sa tunog na ating pinapakilala sa araw na yon. So pwede tayong imbis na yung Barbie, ito na lang kasi pag ito, hindi niya alam na ragdoll yan. Sasabihin niya, teacher, iyan po ay manika. So manika. Okay, ano yung una yung nakita? Okay, pagpapakilala ng tunog, pagpapakita ng hugis ng tunog. So papakita mo ngayon, mais. Mansanas, mangga, mani, manok. Ano ang tunog sa unahan na iyong naririnig sa lahat ng larawan na ito? Pwede mong tanongin sa bata. At sasagot ang bata, ang tunog na naririnig ko po ma'am ay So ayan po, yun po yung yan po ay example ano kung paano po natin ginagamit yung Marungko approach. Okay. May nagpa-practice na ho dito sa akin tabi. Dalawa po yung participant. Melo. Kasi po Melo ang pangalan niya. Yes, ma'am. Opo. Melo. So, sasaw niya, yan. So, ayan po yan. Okay.
May
At ito ay
audience ka pala
letra
dyan, ma'am.
Opo, ma'am. May estudyante ko dito, 3, ma'am. Nandito kami sa office.
Mamaya, ma'am, marunong na sila magpasa niyan, ha?
Yes, ma'am. And they're happy po. Kasi grade 6 teacher sila, ma'am. Gusto nilang grade 1 teacher ngayon. Tsaka kinder, ma'am. babalik
Ay,
sila sa
okay.
Pilipinas. Yes,
Naku,
po,
we
ma'am.
welcome
So,
natin
ayan.
sila, ma'am.
Opo, ma'am. So, ayan. So, ipapakita ngayon yung hugis ng letra. And then, tsaka nyo ngayon siya, susulat yung sa hangin, di ba? Susulat mo, sulat natin sa hangin, paano ba yan? So, i-demonstrate siya ni teacher. Pag online ang klase mo, madali siya. Pero pagka distance learning tayo, tapos modular, si nanay ang tuturuan natin ito. So, sana pagka maluwag yung quarantine status natin, we can convene with our parents. Minsan, a few hours lang, isang oras lang, parang sample-sample. Kasi pag naturuan natin ng nanay niyan, matatandaan na niya kung paano di ba? So, yun po, isang suggestion po yun, ma'am, ano po. So, pagsulat ng hugis sa letra, opo, yes, ma'am, talagang sila po ang kaagapay natin. Susulat yung hugis sa papel, susulat yung simulang tunog, pagbibigay ng halimbawang bagay na nagsisimula sa tunog po na pinag-aaralan. So basically po mga ma'am, ito po yung pagtuturo ng Marungko. So yan po ay unang antas pa lamang, yung pagpapakilala po ng tunog. Ngayon, pagka nakapagturo ka na ng 2 o 3 tatlong letra, 3 tunog, magsasama-sama na nga tayo ng tunog. Ito na ngayon yung second level, yung ikalawang antas, pagsasama-sama ng mga tunog upang makalikha na ng isang makabuluhang salita. So, so, imimix mo na siya. So, makakabuo na sila ng pagbasa ng ama, mama, asa, aasa. So, lahat ng pwede nating buuin ng mga salita, gamit ang 3 lang na letrang ito, ay ituturo natin sa kanila. Opo. So, dahan-dahan, unti-unti, hindi ka mag-i-introduce hanggat hindi nila na ma-master yan. So, ito yung ikalawang antas. Nagsasama-sama na tayo ng tunog ng bawat letra para makabuo ng salita. So, dito na papasok yung mga phonemic awareness task natin. Yung mga PA task po natin na blending po. Yan. So, ang ikatlong antas, yung third level po sa pagtuturo ng Marungko, ay pagpapakilala na po nung pantulong na kataga o sinasabing sight words in Filipino. So, yung mga, hindi mo tuturo yung sound niyan. Paano naman niya isa-sound niya yung mga? Yung ang, yung ay, yung si, yung nang, sakay, at nang. Lahat ng mga pantulong na ito, at sight mo yan ituturo. O ang basa dito, mga, paulit-ulit mo ipapakita yan, mga ma'am. Ano po? So, huwag niyo pong ipapatunog yan. Yan po ay pinapakilala po. Yan.
Yes, ma'am. Baka sabihin ni teacher na, aga, aga.
Yes, ma'am. Opo. So, yes, ma'am. These are sight
Opo.
words po in Filipino. The way we used to teach sight words po naman in English po. So, yan. Ang ika-4 na antas, so bubuo na siya dahil may alam na siyang salita. Bubuo na siya ngayon ng mga parirala. Then onwards sa pangungusap. At saka ngayon mag-create ngayon ng kwento. Pwede ka nang mag-create ng short story out of the letters po na inaituro nyo. Mamaya po mag-share ako ng isang worksheet po para po makita nyo po yung pwedeng ipagawang worksheet o pwede pong gawing worksheet na ating mga teachers po in addition to what we sa remedial reading po had been doing. So, magbubuo na ng parilala. Halimbawa, ayan, sama-sama ang mga mama. So, makikita nyo, yung ang at saka mga, sight word yan. Pero ang tinuro lang dyan ng mga letra na tunog ay tunog ng S, tunog ng A, at saka tunog ng M. So, yan, sama-sama ang mga mama. Sasama ang mama kay ama. Aasa ang mama kay ama. And then onwards dito pa lang, nagbubuo pa lang ng parilala at pangungusap. Pwede na tayo mag-comprehension question kasi at the same time na tayo ay nagtuturo ng pagbuo ng parirala, pwede ka na dito magturo ng comprehension skill. So magtatanong ka, sino ang sasama sa mga mama? Sino ang aasa kay ama? So kanino sasama si mama kay ama? So andito na yung comprehension question. Isang sentence lang, meron ka ng tanong, meron ka ng sagot. So habang natututo silang magbasa, nagkakaroon sila ng comprehension skill po, mga ma'am. So hindi siya taught in isolation po. So dire-diretso po yan, mabibuild po natin sa ating mga bata.
Yes, agree, Ma'am Ana. No?
Yes,
Kasi
po.
we cannot confirm na marunong na magbasa yung learner without comprehending what they have learned.
Yes, ma'am.
So, magiging
So,
leader
sabay-sabay
lang
po ito.
siya
Yes, ma'am.
kapag naintindihan niya kung ano yung binasa niya. Pag
Opo,
hindi
ma'am.
niya nasasagot, ma'am, ay, wala pa rin siyang reading level.
Yes. So dito pa lang 3 letra pa lang ang natuturo mo, makaka-develop ka na ng comprehension skill sa iyong mga anak. Okay, next po. So pagbasa ng mga buong salita, paulit-ulit, mata ng ibon. Ito, ano na kasi ang naituro niyang letra, marami na. Kaya mapapansin niyo yung sample ko dito po, mahaba na siya, mata ng ibon, lobo sa mesa, bola sa ilalim ng kama. Dito pa lang, parirala pa lang, nasan ang bola? Nasa ilalim ng kama. Ano ang nasa ilalim ng kama? Yung bola. So pabalik-baliktad lang na di-develop mo yung comprehension skills ng iyong mag-aaral. So sana po matandaan po natin ito ha. Okay. So ayan po, pangungusap at tanong, ito po yung huli, pero dun pa lang sa nag-i-introduce ka pa lang ng parirala, pwede mo na siyang ipasok. Ang lobo ay kay Ana. Kanino ang lobo? Diba? Kakain ng kalabasa si Tina. Sino ang kakain ng kalabasa? So alongside with reading of the sentences na natututunan unti-unti ng bata, nag-uumpisa na rin magkaroon ng comprehension skill. So remember po, ito po ay 4th stage na mga ma'am ho, pang-4 na level na po ng pagtuturo. At yun na po yung pinaka-highest sa antas ng pagtuturo po ng Dulog Marungko. So ito po yung pinakahuli. So pangungusap. And then of course, meron ka na maikling kwento. Ayan. May lobo sa loob ng kotse. Kay Bambi ang asul na lobo. Masaya si Bambi sa lobo niya. So dito pwede ka na magpasok. Basta ang kwento mo ay iinog sa mga letra na napag-aralan nyo lang. Huwag po kayong magpapasok na hindi pa ho napapag-aralan na natunog ng letra. Ano po? So mag-craft ka ng story. Kasi alam ko, very, very innovative ang ating mga teachers po. Nakakagawa sila ng mga story out of these letters po. So, yun. So, ayan po. So, by these 3 sentences lang po, may kwento ka na, pero may 4 ka ng tanong. So, andyan na po. So, 3 sentence na story, may 4 ka ng comprehension questions po dyan. So yun po, ang saya pong magturo niyan, ang saya din pong mag-craft ng lesson. At yung katulad po nung kahapon, pati yung math kwento, pwede niyo po ipasok dyan. Pwede po nating lagyan ng mathematics yan, totoo lang. So yun po mga ma'am, ganun po magturo ng Marungko. Sana po may napulot po kayo. Siguro po mag-share ako kay Ma'am Leia na lang ng isa pong parang worksheet. I'll ask permission. Kasi po si Ma'am Janet po ay nagturo sa remedial reading ng worksheet po in Marungko. Alam ko po kompleto po siya doon, pero it's to be used po for remedial, pero I believe po kahit remedial, pang remedial, pwede hong gawing pattern to ng ating mga guro sa paggawa ng sarili nilang worksheet po. So with that po, I'd like to share this last slide. Alam niyo po, pag ako po ay tumatayo palagi teaching beginning reading, pasensya na po kayo ha. Ito po ay gasgas na sa totoo lang, pero I just can't help again and again, over and over, paulit-ulit, repeat performance na hindi po ito share sa inyong lahat. And I hope you'll be reading along with me with this one. So, maraming salamat po for listening, and I would like to leave you this one. Give a kid a hand. This one was shared to us during the National English Proficiency Program. Hindi ko po to original, sinishare ko din po sa inyo at sinishare po sa amin lahat during that training po several years ago. More than 10 years ago na po itong PowerPoint na to, pero patuloy ko po siyang binabalik-balikan kasi po gusto ko hong ma-internalize natin ito. So give a kid a hand. So the first 6 years of a child's life are critical, the experts tell us. So ano yan, hanggang grade 1 po yan ha. That's when his characters are formed. That's when learning is slowly making a mark. That's when caring counts. Someone just to hold him. Unfortunately, for many of the world's children, that's just what they don't get. And society suffers as a result, because a deprived child has a lot less chance of growing up as an adjustment adult, a reader, a thinker, a lifelong learner ready to face the world. Some of us believe we can change things, or at least try. And we need your help, my dear teachers, K-3 teachers of DepEd and Marikina. Maybe you'll help one to learn, to read and write, to laugh, to love, to live. Maybe you'll just be the hand that holds out a little hope. To give a kid a hand is to give a gift that lasts forever po. It's the gift of reading and writing. And I hope po, my fellow teachers, we can give that to our K-3 learners. And with that po, maraming salamat po. Sana po may thank to para ma-spelling ko ah. Thank you po. Thank so much to all of you po yan. Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much po for listening.
Wow, Ma'am Annalie. Ma'am Paz, kahit na sinabi mo kanina na paulit-ulit mo na lang present ito, ilang beses ka na nag-talk sa division ng Marikina, but then again, palagi mong nabibigyan ng bagong bihis, bagong mukha ang beginning reading using the Marungko approach. Nagkaroon ulit ng yung naibalik mo ulit yung passion. Ako, hindi na ako nagtuturo, pero ramdam na ramdam ko pa rin sa iyong presentation, sa iyong talk, yung passion, yung commitment for us teachers to really do our part, our responsibility as a teacher, lalong-lalo na nga sa ating mga K-3 teachers. Kasi di ba ma'am, ito talaga yung challenge natin sa buong Pilipinas na mapabasa natin ang ating mga learners. So yung burden, hindi naman natin sinasabi na hindi magagaling yung ating mga K-3 teachers, pero yung burden talaga na maituro natin, maisagawa natin ng tama at maayos ang pagbabasa ay nasa balikat natin bilang mga K-3 teachers, kasi kapag talaga pong tama ang pundasyon ng beginning reading ng ating mga bata mula kinder hanggang grade 3, I'm sure yung mga succeeding grade level nila ay na lang yan ma'am, follow up na lang, mga iba-ibang mga materials na lang ang kanilang gagamitin kasi naibigay natin yung pundasyon, yung foundation sa kanilang beginning reading skill mula sa kinder pa lang grade 1. Thank you, Ma'am
Yes,
Paz.
I'll be sharing po the buong PowerPoint po to every teacher po.
Send
ko po sa GC natin. PowerPoint po para they can edit. Libre po yon, siyempre.
Yes,
hindi rin naman po sa akin yun, Ma'am Soli. So, i-send ko po sa GC, Ma'am, natin so you can share to the kinder to grade 3 course po. Para they can pwede po nilang balik-balikan, ma'am, para maalala nila palagi. Kasi kahit pa ulit-ulit po, ang sarap balikan po, ma'am. Maraming salamat po sa lahat po. Thank you very much. Thank you po sa opportunity to share
again. Laging first time, Ma'am Annalie. Parang laging first time nag-represent ka nitong Marungko. Kasi diba po, hindi na bago. Actually, sabi mo nga, may project na rin ng DepEd, bawat bata bumabasa. At sa mga schools natin, may kanya-kanya tayong mga reading project. Dito I don't know kung naka-join sa atin si Ma'am Janet kasi part ito ng ating remedial reading program actually. So yung mga schools natin, sana pwede nating balikan yung ating reading program pag natapos na itong school year natin, saan ano ba ang dapat nating i-improve sa ating reading program, what went well, what went wrong, and how are we going to improve. Baka sa mga materials natin, tama ba ang mga ginamit natin mga reading materials? Tama ba ang paraan ng pagtuturo ng mga teachers natin? At hindi lang teacher ngayon. Si teacher ba ay tinuturuan niya yung ating mga magulang o kaya yung mga learning partners natin para sila ang magturo din sa mga anak nila na nasa bahay. So yun po yung monitoring na gagawin natin. So it will not end here ulit. Sabi ko nga, yung sa mga school heads kahapon and master teachers, kagaya ng training before, Ma'am Paz, na yung 3 T natin nung training, Ma'am Annalie? Palaging may 3 T ang training natin doon. Pag may papel,
yes, ma'am.
Ma'am? Tanggap? Tiklop?
Tago, ma'am. Tiklop, tago.
Tago. Sana po hindi ito ngayon mangyayari kahit na distance or online yung ating webinar o mga trainings. Kaya ako po sinusuportahan yung ating mga principals at saka master teachers na meron silang role na dapat gampanan, na dapat na iproproseso sa school level ang mga natututunan natin sa mga trainings na to na nagsalita na si Ma'am Annalie, si Ma'am Paz, magsasalita ulit sa fuller approach. Dapat po ito ay ma-apply natin, magamit ng ating mga teachers sa kanilang pagtuturo at dapat mamomonitor din po ito, ma-check din ng ating mga principal. Ginagamit ba talaga ito ni teacher? Sana at the end of the school year, unti-unti mabawasan yung bilang ng mga bata na hindi nakakabasa or hindi nakaka-identify ng letters kasi kawawa, natapos ang 10 buwan, 10 months of learning, hawak natin yung bata. And then at the end of the school year, may bata ka palang hindi man lang naka-identify ng letters. May bata pala tayong hindi man lang alam ang tamang tunog. So anong nangyari? Anong ginawa natin? Sana wala na po tayong learners na ganun na ma-identify for this year and hopefully for the succeeding years. Paulit-ulit ang mga training natin, programa natin sa pagbabasa sa reading. Sana meron tayong magawang improvement po sa paraan ng pagtuturo natin. Thank you so much, Ma'am Annalisa Paz, for sharing your talent, your gift with regards to Marungko.
Maraming salamat din po, Ma'am Lea, for this opportunity. Alam niyo naman po, basta sa guro ng DepEd Marikina, andito tayo palagi. Maraming salamat po din, Ma'am.
Thank you for keeping that fire, that passion po para sa mga learners natin and of course sa mga teachers na rin natin being a school head right now. Thank you so much. So, Ma'am Banch and Ma'am Hazel, take it away.
Yes, ma'am. Reading is fun. Learning is fun. So thank you once again, Ma'am Annalisa M. Paz, for sharing your expertise and for the engaging presentation. So we will have a health break. So we'll be back.
I think,
Yes,
Teacher Hazel, yung health break natin is longer today. It will be for 20 minutes.
Okay.
Tama po ba, Ma'am Leia?
Yes, Ma'am Banch.
20
We'll
minutes
have a
po ngayon.
20-minute health break. Kasi po,
Okay.
I will have a separate session again with the school heads and master teachers with regards to their monitoring activities. So let's give
Okay.
time for them to be able to join the other Google Meet. So dalawa po ang magiging session ko.
Okay po.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So let's all be back at 3:09. Ayan.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you po.
Water break, NCR break muna tayo.
Welcome back, everyone. Once again, here is teacher Evangeline Dupale of Parang Elementary School to introduce our next speaker for session 2.
Okay, so to talk about beginning reading using Fuller approach, please join me in welcoming Master Teacher 1 of Malanday Elementary School, Miss Mia R. Esperanza. Good afternoon po,
Yan.
ma'am.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Branch. Thank you for the introduction. Yan, good afternoon to all. I would like to greet our Ma'am Cheryl Gayola, Ma'am Elisa Cerveza, all the PSDSS po na nandito, and even the EPSS po natin. Also, all the principals present here, especially my principal, Ma'am Aisaling Garchitorena. Good afternoon po to all. And to all fellow master teachers, K-3 teachers in the Google Meet and in the YouTube. Good afternoon po. Yan. So, my topic would be about beginning reading using the Fuller approach. Just like yung pinresent ni Ma'am Ana, it's a different thing using Marungko. So this time naman po, it will be in English and using the Fuller approach. So, let's get started na po. Oh my. Nawala po ba ako?
Hindi po, ma'am.
Okay. I thought na. Okay, ma'am, mag-present.
Yes, please po.
Okay po, Ma'am Banch, pa po yung yung...
Sige po. Ma'am Kat?
Ayan kay Ma'am Kat pala. Sorry,
Apo.
Ma'am Kay ang nasabi ko.
It's okay po, ma'am. Ma'am Esperanza po is going to present her screen. Nasubukan niyo po, ma'am, i-present yung screen niyo po.
Okay, I will try, ma'am.
Opo.
Okay na yata, apo.
Ayan.
Okay.
Okay po.
Sige, thank you. So, let's start po. So, beginning reading. Wait lang po. Beginning reading using the Fuller approach. I am Mia. Okay, will be your facilitator today. So, let's start. So, what age are beginning readers? Sabi kanina ni Ma'am Ana, there's no specific age kung kailan natututo ang bata sa pagbasa. Pero research says that siguro ideally between ages 5 and 7, most children are ready to learn the reading and writing. So ito yung ideal. Kaya that's why we have here yung formal education ng kinder. So it's probably kinder to grade 2, ito yung time or age wherein children are ready. So, siyempre, this is the ideal age, but then we have to consider also the readiness of the learners. Kahit ba nasa age na siya, kung hindi pa rin siya ready, di ba? So, hindi natin napipilit yung bata to learn to read. Pero marami pang ibang factors affecting it. Then, they are formally and systematically introduced to a new set of symbol prints. Kaya diba, in kinder, sa kinder, nagsisimula na sila mag-introduce ng mga letters in prints. And then, a rich environment remind the child that written symbols have embedded meaning to be discovered. So, during my first year na-assign ako as a master teacher, I was assigned sa mag-handle ng mga kindergarten teacher, and I was able to observe. Tapos, siyempre, papasok ka sa classroom, ay nakita ko doon yung classroom nila ay rich in printed materials. Kasi nakita ko yung pinto, nakasulat, merong strip of paper, door, tapos pinto, window, bintana, mesa, table. So, it's a symbol, it's a sign, or it's a message conveying to the pupils sa kindergarten na lahat ng print na yon ay mayroong meaning if you will be able to read. Diba? So magiging excited ang bata na I want to learn the letters kasi I want to read what's on that thing. Ano ba yung basa dito? Ano ba yung basa? Ito pala pinto or door. So yun. So, meron tayong papakita ko lang yung yung paunti-unti natin na pag-approach doon sa papuntang English. 'Di ba meron tayong mother tongue. Mother tongue is the medium of instruction from kinder to grade 3. And then nagtanong ako, sabi dito dahil grade 3 kasi yung hawak ko, no. Filipino is being introduced in grade 1 sa second quarter. Lucky enough kasi dito sa atin sa NCR wala tayong mother tongue na different from Filipino kasi Tagalog pa rin yung L1 natin at saka yung L2 natin. Kaya parang naiisip ko yung malaking problem ng mga nasa ibang region na bawa yung L1 nila Ilocano, tapos L2 nila Filipino, tapos L3 English. So medyo maayos-ayos tayo dito sa NCR dahil yung L1 and L2 natin share ng isa lang ng language na ginagamit natin. And then, ini-introduce ang English second semester or in the third quarter ng grade 1. So parang nag-mapping ako, no, paano yung development na ini-introduce na yung English. Hindi pala agad. So hindi siya agad-agad na nasa kinder nag-i-English na, wala silang subject na English. And then second quarter Filipino. And then third quarter ay English. So meaning unti-unti pa-spiral yung approach natin kapag nag-i-introduce tayo sa bata ng English and Filipino leading to reading. So ibig sabihin pala nito, balikan ko to. Ibig sabihin pala nito, di ba? In kinder pa lang, we are starting exposing children to printed print na mamaya malalaman nyo ay may relasyon sa kung paano tayo nagtuturo ng reading. Yan. So there are basic 6 of teaching beginning reading na kanina natutuwa ako kasi this was discussed by Ma'am Ana in a different way, pero parehas kami nang ipepresent of the same content na ganito rin yung sasabihin. So, thank you Ma'am Ana for making it easy for me to explain this one kasi hindi ko na siya masyadong i-elaborate kasi na-discuss na siya kanina. So, sa akin, there are basic 6 of teaching beginning reading. The first one is the oral language, phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, tapos may vocabulary, and then the last one is the comprehension. Yan. Okay. So oral language is the foundation of learning to read. This is the ability to link the spoken language to written language. That is why in kinder, meron silang mga activities, and all the activities are game-based or play-based. Diba? Storytelling. Yung kasi sa game-based and play-based, there madi-develop nila na doon yung mga languages na palaging nilang ginagamit every day. Although this is in English. And then storytelling. So you will be encouraging pupils to join in the conversation. Merong questioning, merong sharing. And then I also heard them singing. Diba? Yung may mga rin sila mga action song, tapos yung minsan pati yung sound of the letters they put it into singing. Ito ang tunog ng letrang M, letrang M, letrang M. Ito ang tunog ng letrang M. So yung bata kahit walang ginagawa or naglalaro, naglalakad, pwede niya nun kantahin, pwede niya yun awitin, and then nadi-develop yon kasi nagagamit, pwede niya nga papalitan eh. Ito ang tunog ng letrang T. Papalitan niya lang kasi natutunan na niya, susunod na letter would be T. Hanggang sa madidevelop yan hanggang grade 1. Okay. So yung next to that is the phonological awareness. This is an awareness that there is an individual sound in spoken words. And phonological awareness is also an understanding that words are made up of speech sounds or phonemes. Probably tomorrow, alam ko, this will be discussed further by Ma'am Yoli, no? And phonological awareness is the ability to identify and work with the individual sounds in the spoken words. This is also auditory but should be connected to print as soon as possible. So palaging connected yung printed letters with its sound. Yung phonics naman, ito yung mag-i-introduce ka na ng print letters muna into words and then paired with corresponding sounds. Okay, phonics is the first step in good reading practice. Why? Kasi hindi sila makakabasa if they don't know the sound of each letters. Katulad din sa Marungko. So, ang Fuller kasi and Marungko is almost the same. Okay, pero kaiba lang sila in some part of introducing it. And then after ito, magkakaroon na syempre ng fluency. This is the ability to read quickly and accurately. Once na nakita niya yung words, dahil na-recognize na niya yung letter forms and its sound, automatic pag nakita niya, alam niya na yung basa, it's the OGS dog. Diba? So, mabilis na siya, meron ng pangunawa. Covered in phonemic awareness. Okay, letter naming muna. Tapos, sound letter association, sight words. Mamaya didiscuss ko yung sight words and oral reading of connected text. Okay, dapat merong fluency in the letter recognition, uulitin ulit, letter sound, tapos i-introduce na yung words and then magkakaroon ng comprehension. After ng fluency, kailangan i-develop ang vocabulary. Okay, vocabulary or words a person has learned and uses to communicate effectively. There are 3 tiers of vocabulary. Basic vocabulary, high-frequency vocabulary, and low-frequency vocabulary. Yung basic vocabulary, ito yung everyday we use in our daily conversation. Basic. Basic lang we use in our daily communication. Sis English, alimbawa, alam ba yung mga bata yung water, light, table, chair, yung mga basic na gagamit niya in communicating with the teacher and classmates and parents, di ba? So, vocabulary is divided into oral and reading. Okay, and balik ako pala. Yung high frequency vocabulary, ito naman yung mga words that we learn in school. Like yung mga words have multiple meaning. And when we say low frequency vocabulary, ito yung mga specific word for let's say yung climate, yung storm, yung mga ganong related na yung para lang sa specific, yung hindi masyadong ginagamit, seldom lang. Okay. Most words are learned indirectly, but some are need to be taught directly. So merong words na we learn it by just listening, observing. Kasi nung malitaw, yun pala yung tawag pala doon table, mesa, table. So, i-associate na ng bata. Pero there are difficult words that we have to present to our learners na kailangan ituro. This is it. Ito yung word na to. So, complex siya. So, typically, a learner add 3,000 new words yearly after grade 3. So, mga ilang vocabulary dapat ang nakukuha ng isang bata every year. So, sabi nga kanina rin ni Ma'am Ana, yung vocabulary kasi hindi yan natuturo lang sa school. It starts sa bahay. It starts at home. Ano yung vocabulary ng mga bata sa bahay? So, this time, lalo na nagkaroon ng pandemic, ang mga bata na-expose sila sa paggamit ng gadget, di ba? May mga bata na, meron akong inaanak, hindi naman siya tinuruan ng English ng mother niya. Pero nagugulat sila kasi English speaking siya kasi nga exposed siya sa Cocomelon, sa iba't ibang mga shows na English in medium. So, ang galing niya. Nakuha niya pati yung accent nung pinapanood niya. And then, siguro, dahil nga sinundan na rin ng mga magulang, kinakausap na rin siya in English, na-develop siya. Yung vocabulary niya, nakuha niya indirectly sa panunood ng, ng television. Yan. Okay, and then last to that is the comprehension. Siyempre, pagka natuto naman yung letter sound muna, letter sound, word, phrases, tapos nagkaroon ka na ng maraming vocabulary, then the comprehension. This is the ability to understand what is being read. Sabi nga sa isang nabasa ko, reading is not reading unless you understand what you are reading. Kung hindi mo rin naiintindihan, maybe nasa yung mga estudyante natin, di ba, nasa grade 3, maybe nasa siya, spiral progression approach. Ano daw sabi? Ewan ko po, ma'am, sabi ng bata. So, ibig sabihin, nakakabasa lang siya pero wala siyang comprehension. Because comprehension is the reason why you read. Di ba? Kaya mo gustong basahin, gusto mong maintindihan anong sabi? Anong sinabi doon? Anong details ng nakaprint. So you have to read. That's the reason why you want to read. And then it requires purposeful and thoughtful interaction with text. So di ba? When you read, alam mo na meron kang nabasa mo na it's a funny story. So you're expecting na from the text you will be laughing or you will have fun. Tapos kapag naintindihan mo, nako-comprehend mo kung ano yung binabasa mo, may interaction ka with the text. There are 7 instructional strategies for comprehension that will be discussed on the next slide. And here they are. Strategies that we can use to develop the comprehension. Pwede tayong mag-comprehension monitoring. Yun nga yung palagi natin titingnan. Ano na yung level ng reading level ng estudyante ko? Ano pa rin parang siya? Word recognition pa rin ba? O letter recognition lang? O syllable reader pa rin siya? Then, you can do the cooperative learning. In cooperative learning, di ba, meron tayong iba't ibang task na pinapagawa sa bata. Let's say, this group will be having poster making. Ita-translate nila yung story into a poster. Anong message ng story? The other one will play yung role playing, paano nang gagawin. And then you can check there kung nakakaintindi yung bata base dun sa kanilang binasa. And then use of graphic and semantic organizers, question answering, generating questions, recognizing story starters, and summarizing. These are some strategies that we can use. So again, the basic 6, hindi ako masyadong mag-dwell dito kasi na-discuss na almost ni Ma'am Ana. Oral language, phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Although, hindi kami nag-usap ni Ma'am Ana, natutuwa nga ako kasi hindi naman kami nag-usap pero we share the same idea kung paano namin introduce ang beginning reading. Okay, there are 3 types of readers. Siyempre, yung early or beginning readers, na ito yung ating target for today. And then, kapag beginning readers, kapag na-develop na yung mga beginning readers natin, they will become emergent readers and papunta na sa advanced readers. So how are we going to do it in English? So there is an approach na palaging inire-recommend sa remediation, and even in the beginning reading, pag sinabing ganon, ang unang sasabihin is fuller approach. Say, what is fuller approach? Okay. Fuller approach is a combination of the alphabets, phonics, and whole method of teaching word recognition. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Ana, ilang beses na namin ito ine-explain, ilang beses namin ito sinishare with the teachers, and much better naman din na kasi nga, di ba, pwedeng natin talagang i-revisit pwede nating ibalikan kung ano nga yung mga dapat natin gawin, lalo na kung medyo matagal na natin narinig. So it's a combination of the alphabet, phonics, and the whole method teaching of word recognition. Who started this? According sa research na ginawa ko, it was Richard Buckminster Fuller and his wife who started the approach. It was not clear anong year ito na-develop, in-introduce. Basta dun sa sa research na ginawa ko, silang mag-asawa yung proponent nito. Richard Buckminster is also known as Bucky and was born in Milton, Massachusetts, July 12, 1895. And he died 11 days before his 80th birthday. So, bago siya 88 namatay siya. Buckminster Fuller worked across multiple fields. Sa architecture, geometry, engineer, science, cartography, and in education, of course. He is a author. He was an author, designer, and an inventor. And his pursuit is to make the world work for 100% of humanity. So kasama yung education sa kanyang na-foresee na mga dapat niyang i-contribute dito at nakapag-contribute sa education using the Fuller approach. Okay. So Fuller approach can be used by all types of learners. Pwede sa beginning readers, learners with reading problems, and even adult learners who wants to learn English as second language and the reading remediation, di ba? Meron dito nag-online class yata, yung mga Japanese or Korean nagpapaturo ng English. Pwede natin itong gamitin sa kanila. But during the last time that I made a talk with this approach, it was used for reading remediation. But this time we will be using it sa beginning reading. Sabi nga kanina ni ma'am, di ba? Bakit natin paghahandaan ang pag-remediate when we can do it and use it sa beginning readers pa lang? Diba? Although meron talagang naiiwan, kaya yung Fuller approach can be also used sa reading remediation. Pero mas mabuti na daw yung ano ba yun? Yung cure ba yun? What's the word? Prevention is better than cure. So, agapan na natin. Sa beginning readers pa lang, let's make use of this approach na. So, Fuller approach is an inductive method. It begins with specific details, concrete data, and examples, and ends with an abstract. So, learners are more engaged in the teaching-learning process. So, may mga activities kasi na ipapagawa sa mga bata, engage ang bata, and they will learn as they play, as they use the manipulatives. Then, learning becomes more interesting at the outset because we begin with the experiences of our student, begin with what they know. So, malaking tulong yung paggamit ng mother tongue bago tayo magturo ng English kasi nagiging bihasa muna yung mga bata sa language nilang sarili. Diba? Language nilang sarili. Ako hindi ko nga alam paano ka natuto magbasa ng English nung maliit pa ako. No? So, yung pag na-develop na competent na yung bata sa kanyang pagsasalita, sa pagsusulat, it would be easy daw to learn another language. Kasi expose siya, bihasa na siya in using his own language. So, in-associate ko lang po yung effect ng mother tongue, the reason why we use mother tongue as medium of instruction from grade 1 to 3 bago natin introduce ang English. And then, it helps the development of our learners' higher order thinking skills to see patterns and analyze the same in order to arrive at generalizations requires analytical thinking. Kasi nga, as you present each letter, pwede ka na nga mag-develop ng comprehension just like in the Marungko. So may later makikita niyo po how we are going to do it. So, how Fuller approach is different from the deductive method. In the deductive method, the teacher dominated the approach. But yes, you see, sa Fuller approach, engage nga yung bata. It begins with the abstract rule, wherein in the inductive method from simple to complex. It covers a wide scope of subject matter. Learning is passive. And then drill or exercises come after the explanation of the rule. Wherein in the Fuller approach using the inductive method, you play. There are exercises while learning. Nakasabay siya, naka-incorporate siya doon sa teaching learning process ng teacher and pupils while having the lesson. Okay, so how effective is this approach? Okay. Meron akong na research dito na study in the Philippines. Philippines to siyempre, dapat tingnan natin anong epekto sa mga batang Pilipino. The title of the research is Helping Struggling Readers to Read. The impact of the CRN. Ang tawag nila sa kanilang project is CRN, Care for the Non-Readers. You see, non-readers, program on Filipino pupils reading proficiency. Dito, gumamit sila ng dalawang approach na in-introduce namin ni Ma'am Ana, the Marungko approach and the Fuller approach. Ito ay ginawa last December 2020, where ang mga authors ay Benjamin Baguio Mangila, Josepina H. Ceriles. So, let's take a look at the findings. Or example dito na sa kanilang research, they made use of the Fuller technique and Marungko. And accordingly, meron itong effect sa, wait lang, ba't ako napunta dito? Sa reading development ng mga bata in their study. Using this strategy. So there's another research, I Dream research in Journal 2018, in the study na the effect of phonics, Dolch, Fuller, and Marungko to the oral reading performance of grade 2 to 6 struggling readers. So they made use also of Marungko approach and the Fuller approach. Anong findings? It implied that in their study, there are 410 non-readers in English, naging 113 after using the approach. And there are 272 non-readers in Filipino, lower to 39 after using the Marungko approach. So this implied that the use of the intervention material, such as letter sounds, Dolch, drills, Marungko approach in Filipino, and the Fuller approach in English, and all related materials provided positive effect in addressing the oral reading difficulties of grade 2 to 6 struggling readers in their school. I think this is in Cavite yata ito. Cavite. So, if properly used, proper yung paggamit natin, proper yung pag-apply natin ng approach, we will be having the same positive effect in using it. So how we are going to do it? So there are 3 prerequisites before we can use the approach, the Fuller approach. Una, the first thing we have to do is to have mastery of the names and shapes of the letters of the alphabet. Yun nga, yung letter recognition and its form. Di ba? Ito ay ginagawa na sa kinder. So, as we can see, Ang reading, beginning reading ay collaborative work ng kinder to grade 3 teachers. So, yun nga lang, pagdating kasi sa kinder, they are just introducing the letters, the letter names, and the shapes. So, dito yun na de-develop. Kasi pagdating nila ng grade 1, medyo well-versed na yung bata sa mga letters, shapes, and names, and including the sounds. Kasi may mga teacher in kinder na talagang kapag nakita nilang ready yung bata, binibigyan pa nila ng more interesting work para mas matuto pa yung bata, especially kung patungkol sa reading. I remember yung anak ko kasi, natuto siya magbasa at the age of 3. Depende talaga siya sa readiness. Kasi 'di ba, pag uuwi tayo ng bahay, yung mga anak natin, bubuklatin yung bag, asan daw yung pasalubong, makikita niya doon yung flashcard. Tapos nag-start na siya asking me, ano ito? Una nga sagot ko sa papel. Hindi mama, may nakasulat. May nakasulat. Then, I started introducing her yung letters. Aba, ready siya. Tapos, I introduced the sound. Ready rin siya, kaya nakapagbasa siya before siya pumasok sa school. So, depende sa bata. Kung ang environment niya ay exposed sa different printed materials, talagang ma-encourage siya magbasa agad. Depende yon kasi nga, depende pa rin sa bata, sa readiness niya. So, mastery of the names and shapes of the letters of the alphabet. Kapag master na yan ng bata, hindi ka pwedeng gumamit ng fuller approach na basta nakita mo yung bata, ito na gagawin natin, hindi. Kung para ma-determine, syempre, you have to conduct an assessment. Ito ba nakaka-recognize ng letters? Paano ma-assess? Pwede mo siyang ipa-recognize ng letters, bigyan mo siya ng printed ng material na mayroong alphabets. Or kapag magi-grade 1 na siya, tingnan mo, di ba, yung mga kinder, meron silang ECD list na tinitik ng mga kindergarten teacher na nakaka-recognize ng letters, nakaka-produce ng sound. Nakita ko rin yun, di ba? Tama ba mga kindergarten teacher? So, at home, yung letters na to, kung advocate ng education, ng reading ang nanay, pwede siyang yung ibang nanay kasi they are playing ABC songs, posted ABC charts at home. Yung bahay nila, wala siyang pakialam kung maraming nakadikit as long as maraming nakikitang printed materials ng kanyang anak. Yun yung batang yon na may posibilidad na mabilis siyang matutong magbasa. So, tapos pasok siya sa kinder. I-discuss ng mga kinder teachers yung pagkilala sa mga letra ng alpabeto in the second quarter. Okay, nag-mapping ako ng curriculum eh. And then, padating sa grade 1, sa mother tongue, first quarter, uulitin ng mga grade 1 teachers yung pagsasabi ng pangalan ng bawat letra sa alpabetong Pilipino, A to Z. Tapos, wastong pagbigkas ng tunog ng MSLLRNNZ. Pero hindi pa kayo gumagamit ng ng Marungko. Pero ini-introduce nyo na to, di ba? Wastong pagbigkas ng mga tunog ng A, E, I, O, U. Sa grade 1 yan in mother tongue, that's your lesson. Pagdating sa grade 2, in quarter 1, makikita natin na meron nang pumasok na English. Read the alphabets of English and associate toponym. Identify the English equivalent of words in mother tongue or in Filipino. And give the beginning letter of the name of each picture. You see, ito yung mga activities at prerequisites na kailangan na malaman ng mga bata bago natin gamitan ng fuller approach. So, kinder, grade 1 and grade 2, nasa sa inyo po yung preparation, nakasalalay po sa inyong mga kamay. Sa masisipag nating mga kinder, grade 1 at grade 2 teachers. And then palating syempre sa grade 3, kami yung sa grade 3 kasi ako na. Syempre polishing, tapos enhancing yung reading ability ng mga bata through the different strategies na gagamitin ng teacher. And then another prerequisite is the mastery of the sounds of the letters. So, hindi lang basta kilala yung letters. Hindi alam yung forma ng letters. So, let me go back to this, yung mastery and names of the shape of the teachers, of the letters. There are 26 letters of the alphabet. In English, di ba? There are 26. Tapos, there are uppercase and lowercase. So, all in all, there are 52 letters. A child has to remember yung shapes and the name. Yung name, no, hindi masyado yun eh. Pero yung shapes, there are 52 shapes na kailangan i-master ang isang bata para masabing master na niya yung names and shapes of the alphabet. So, yun. So, punta tayo dito sa sounds. So, mastery of the sounds of the letter of the alphabet, especially the consonants. Kapag po sa Fuller, ang pinakabida is yung mga consonant letters. So, dapat master. Bakit naman po? Kasi naman, doon sa mga naunang mga lesson in mother tongue and in Filipino, yung A, E, I, O, U ay na-introduce na mai-introduce na rin. So, yung consonant letters plays an important part in the learning of learning to read in Fuller approach. But let us be careful kasi mayroong ibang letters na confusing. Kasi yung like yung letter C, it has two sounds. C, hard C, and the soft C, S. And then E, like city, cycle, and race. The sound of letter C is soft. So hindi natin sasabing kitty, cycle, and rake. So, it's city, cycle, and race. Kaya lang, ang mga bata kasi may difficulty kapag nagbabasa dito. Kaya po, sa Fuller, we do not introduce the soft sound of the letter C and G. Doon muna tayo sa hard sound. Same with letter G. The hard sound is G, G. Tapos, yung soft sound is J. So, when G is in front of letters I, Y, E, madali lang naman tandaan eh, soft ang sound ng letter G, like in jingle, gypsy, and gem. So, minsan may mga estudyante ako ng, teacher, bakit po yung pangalan niya? May mga iba't ibang pangalan na dapat soft. Binibigkas niya ng hard C kasi nga ang alam niya is the sound of the hard C. Diba? So, yan. Nako-confuse. So, another prerequisite is for a pupil to have adequate vocabulary so that the words used in Fuller lesson will have meaning for a child. Yun yung kinasabi ko kanina na pang ilan dun sa Big Six. Yung vocabulary plays an important also role in using the Fuller approach to be effective. Kailangan rich ang vocabulary ng bata. Bago tayo pumasok in using the Fuller approach. Anyway, kapag in-introduce pa rin, madidevelop pa rin yung vocabulary. Kita niyo yung kung paano siya gawin later. So, para ma-enrich ang vocabulary ng mga bata, we have to include the basic sight words or dolch sa ating pagtuturo ng Fuller. So, sabi kanina, Fuller approach is yung may inclusion ng the whole word method. Ito yon yung dolch. It was introduced to us by Dolch, Edward William Dolch. Yan. Siya yung father of the sight words. So, ako, nung bago pa lang ako sa public school, nakita ko yan, yung nakalagay sa Manila paper. Tapos, marami, di ba? Marami siyang words na tapos pinapabasa sa mga bata. Tapos, hanggang sa karoon kami ng idea na yung basic sight words ay i-laminate para pwedeng magamit ng mga bata. Iaman kami ng mga teachers from release na mapunit ng mga bata pag hinahawakan nila. So, meron pala siyang proper way of introducing it sa ating learners. So, basic sight words was introduced or was published by Edward William Dolch in the year 1936. And then, in 1948, he published a book entitled Problems in Reading. Tapos, included in the book yung 220 words. Kapag binilang natin lahat yon, 220 words that he thought should be easily recognized in order to achieve reading fluency in English language. So kapag alam ng mga bata ang isingit, basahin, ang basic sight words, mabilis lang yung reading development and with fluency. Kasi nga mabilis nga siya, di ba? It is. According to Dawes, 50% to 75% of all the words that he used in his book are also used in books, newspapers, and magazines. Yan yung nakikita. So very important talaga ito na matutunan ng mga estudyante o ng ating mga learners. So how to present the Dawes basic sight words? So una, yung pre-primer. It consists of 40 words only. So introduce natin yung A and away, big blue can come down, and then papunta dun sa U. So all in all, it's 40. Kapag na-master ng mga bata itong mga 40 words na to in the pre-primer, you can now proceed to primer words consisting 52 words. Ito na yung all, am, are, at, 8. Sa ano kasi nung bago ako sa public, hindi malinaw sa akin yung ano yung ditong una. Basta pabasa yan. Basta sabi ko, basta ipapabasa ko to. Alin kaya dito? So meron pala siyang proper way of introducing each word sa bata. And then, kapag first grade na ang bata, ang learners, dapat alam na niya tong pre-primer and primer. Tapos, i-introduce natin tong another set of 41 words na nasa Dawes basic sight words like after, again, and, any, as, ask, by, could, every, fly, from, give, to, and blah, 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 hanggang when. So at the age or at the second grade, we have to introduce the 46 words, and on the third grade, we have to introduce 41 words. All in all, from pre-primer to primer, 40 plus 52 plus 41 plus 46 plus 41 is 220 words. Diba? Medyo matagal, no? Medyo matagal, kaya may practice. May practice talaga ito. So how? What are strategies can we use to teach the Dawes basic sight words? I can give you some strategies here. Let's say we have the see and say. See and say. A child sees the word on the flashcard. Pwede rin natin itong gawin ngayon kahit nasa pandemic, di ba? Yung mga naka-online. Alam ko yung ibang klase nagtatry na makapag-connect pa rin sa mga bata kahit papaano. So, pwede ipakita yung flashcard and then say the word while underlining it with his or her finger. Kasi nga, di ba sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, meron kaming copy, laminated. Pwede pakita mo yung once, hahanapin ng bata yung once doon sa list of words, kung pre-primer or what, at kung ano ba to, saan na ba tong once na word. So, hanapin niya dun sa list, and then he or she will say once. Pwedeng ipa-spell, O-N-C-E, once. And then, another strategy is the spell reading. Spell reading. Okay, paano pa tayo magpa-spelling na bata? Sa bata ng mga words. Sabi, children spell apple. A-P-P-L-E. Is that the proper way? So, halimbawa, children, please spell carpenter. The child says the word carpenter. Papasabi niya, say the word, spell the word, and say the word again. So, carpenter, how do we spell it out? Pag in-spell natin yung words, pa-syllable din siya. Carpenter. So, C-A-R-P-E-N-T-E-R. Carpenter. Yon. So, and then read the word again. So, ayan. Pwede natin yan style or strategy. Another one is air writing. Say, a child says the word, then writes in the air in front of the flashcard, di ba? Pagka meron tayong face-to-face, malapit na, di ba? Malapit na tayo mag-face-to-face. Nasa harapan si teacher, tapos yung bata, i-imagine niya, i-trace niya sa hangin yung hawak mo na flashcard. And then, pwede rin yung table writing. A child writes the letter on the table, then first looking at the flashcard and then not looking at the flashcard, tumingin muna. Copy. Tapos this time, no, looking at the flashcard, write the word on the table. Okay? And then, correction procedure. Pwede natin i-correct a child's mistake by clearly stating and reinforcing the right word several times. Pero minsan, di ba, sinabi ko na, diba, ang basa dyan ay, ano yung walked. Kasi ang basa ng mga bata, walked, talked. So, walked. So, paulit-ulit. B. Okay, dito, talagang gagamit tayo ng pasensya. Bumili tayo ng isang lata ng malaking pasensya. Kasi we have to correct them several times until na makuha nila yung the right way of reading the word. So, you can see, yung pag natin sa mga bata from gross motor naging hanggang sa fine motor, susulat na sa papel mamaya, di ba? So yung paunti-unti rin yung approach natin. Okay, so mayroong sequence of letters, introducing letters in the Fuller approach. The first letter that we teach is letter M, just like in the Marungko. So sabi ko sa inyo may pagkakahawig. So, ito yung listahan ng mga letters that we introduce. The first set is M, S, L, F, T. Kapag na-master na ng bata yan, proceed to another batch. H, C, the hard sound, K, and the R. And then, proceed to another batch, N, B, G, as in G. And then, you have the set of P, D, J, W, and last yung V, Z, Y. So, ito yung tamang, tamang pagkakasunod-sunod ng letters when you are going to use the Fuller approach. So, may mga secrets, little secrets in Fuller approach that you have to remember. So, letter C and G, they have two sounds. Only the hard sounds are introduced to the beginning readers. Bakit nga? To avoid confusion. Diniscuss ko na to kanina. So, that's the reason why yung hard sound lang muna ang i-introduce natin sa ating beginning readers. And then, kung napansin nyo, X, K, and Q are not in the list. See? X, K, and Q are not in the list. Hindi sila ituturo muna. Okay. X is a final sound in all the beginning reading words. Pwede mo siyang gamitin at the final sounds. Okay. You can say mix, fix, six, ox. And the sound of X is taught when these words are introduced. So, hindi rin agad i-introduce siya kasi makaka-apekto, malulito ang bata. So, there are steps on how to do the Fuller approach. Okay. Yung sa sa Marungko din, meron silang level. So, in the Fuller, meron tayong steps to follow on how we are going to do it. So, una muna is the vocabulary development. Show, let's say I'll be introducing letter M. This is the first letter that we have. So I'll be introducing letter M, show the name, show the pictures, and name the picture that start with letter M. So here I have map. So pag nagpakita tayo ng map, pinili ko talaga yung mapa ng Pilipinas. Bakit kamo? Kasi ito yung alam ng bata. Bakit pa tayo lalayo? Ito yung alam ng batang mapa Mapa ng Pilipinas. Ano ba pakialam niya sa ibang mapa? Unless merong mga advanced na bata na alam yung different maps. Di ba? So, ito yung mapa. Love your own muna. Map of the Philippines. Then we have the magnet and then mug. Ito mug. Lagi nakikita sa bahay, titimpla ng kape. Ako yun. Kasi may ligaw ako magkape. So, yan. Yung anak ko, exposed na exposed yan sa mug. Yan. Alam niya yan. And all other pictures na pwede niyo pang maisip that starts with letter M. And then step 2, kapag na-introduce mo na, as you introduce, di ba sasabihin mo, this is a map. This is a map of the Philippines. Ano nga uli? Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Alam nila yan kasi na-discuss na yan. Even in grade 1 or baka naririnig na rin. So this is a magnet. Anong na-attract ng magnet? So pwede sila magsabi, ay teacher, dumidikit, hindi po dumidikit dyan yung coins, yung pera ko. So magkakaroon kayo ng more deeper pa doon sa ina-expect mo na just the meaning of magnet. So meron pa silang masasabi yung mga bata about magnet and mug. Mug, dyan po nagtitimpla ng kape yung mama ko. Or kaya business po ng mama ko yan or something like that. So out from alam nyo ba, masarap kasi magturo sa kinder at saka nag-observe ako doon. Nakakatuwa sila kasi ang dami nilang pasingit. Yung teacher hindi makatuloy sa sasabihin niya kasi yung mga bata, ang daming sinisingit even in grade 1, di ba? Ang daming teacher, ganyan din po yung mama ko. Magsasabi sila. So you have to entertain them para lang ma-develop yung oral language nila sa pag-e-express ng kanilang mga sarili. Step 2 is to introduce the letter sound. So, introduce the letter sound. Our target is letter M. Sound it out. Sasabihin niyo, children, this is letter M and the sound of M is So, sabi ko nga, may narinig ako, this is the sound of letter M. Pwede mo siyang pakanta para hindi masyadong sa tenga ng bata. Letter M, letter M. This is the sound of letter M. And then show the pictures and let them name the pictures again. Uulitin niyo po yung pinakita niyo dito kanina. Tapos sasabihin niya, map, magnet, mug. So, ganon. Puro M. Iikot ang mundo sa letter M. And then, step 3, introduce and review the letter forms. Demonstrate how to write big M and the small m. Meron ako na-observe na sinabi dito, mommy M, baby M. Siguro, we have to use the proper labeling lang. Pero although maganda yon, cute siya. Kaya lang, parang na sa bata na, pag sinabi natin na big M, small letter M and big letter M. And this is how we write big M. Kasi meron ako nakita na sinulat yung letter M na malaki, yung itong gitna ay nasa red line. So, ang big letter M has 4 strokes. 1, tapos from blue to blue again, slanting, tapos from baba, going up to another blue lines and then blue to another blue lines to have the big letter M. And then when we say small m, children, it only has 3 strokes. From the red line going down to the blue line, straight, and then pa-curve, and then straight line again, and then pangatlong stroke. Imo-model natin sa bata how we do it. So, na letter recognition of the letter, may letter sound, meron this time meron na tayong shape. Ito na yung shape. Ganito pala ang letter M. Ganito pala yung big letter M. This is how we write small letter M. Kaya nga small mas maliit, pero hindi naman siya pinaliit na katulad nito. Iba ang forma. Iba ang forma ng small m sa big M. So, magkakaroon ng realization ang isang learner kapag diniscuss mo ito sa kanila. Step 3 again, using his imagination, start by asking your child to write the letter M in the air using a big movement. M. Yan, wala mo ng papel. Tapos sa floor, di ba yung mga bata, kinder, ay nakaupo sa floor. On the floor, on his palm. Tapos, you can ask him to write on mommy's back or kaya sa classmate. Then, masaya yon pag nagsusulat sila sa likod ng classmate, nagtatawanan sila. Then, write on the board. Tatawagin mo na ngayon yung bata sa blackboard. Ipapasulat mo doon sa malaking line din ng blackboard mo, and then next on paper. Notice nyo po, from gross motor skill to fine motor skill. hindi agad nagpapapel si teacher. Hindi agad siya nagpagamit ng papel. Dinevelop niya muna yung free pagsulat ng bata using his hand sa iba't ibang surfaces ng classroom, sa bahay, pwedeng gamitin. So, pwede rin ito ipagawa sa bahay kapag naituro nga natin sa mga mommies. Step 4, give exercises. O, ito yung kinasabi kanina na as you introduce the letters to all the learners, along with it, meron ka ng mga games, exercises. So, have some games or contests. For example, show a bingo card with pictures that all start with the sound of M. Tapos, halimbawa, kay children, ang pattern natin is letter L. Letter L or letter T, or baligtad na T, ganun. Or kaya, pa-square. So, i-identify ng bata anong mga words yung nasa square or nasa L or nasa T to complete it and then say, bingo. O, yan. So, although lahat naman siya, di ba, letter M, pero they will be thinking, yan, kakaroon na ng hats. Paano ako makakagawa ng letter L? Ano-ano ba yung mga words na nasa letter L? So, mag-iisip siya na, ito, ang sasabihin ko ay monkey, microphone, mag, mitten, mushroom, motor, meat, melon, and mouse. So, I formed a letter L. Bingo, teacher. Okay. So, nasa step 4 na tayo. When we introduce, we will introduce the word family after ng letter recognition. Alam na, kilala na si letter M, si consonant letter M. We will now put it in the word family. Okay, we will teach words, families, and their pattern because they help in the beginning readers to read. So, how we are going to do it? Mayroon tayong word family here. Ang una nating ituturo is the short E word family. May explanation dito si Dr. Pado, bakit letter E, no? Tapos letter A, short letter I, short letter O, and short letter U word family. Introduce them one by one. So, yung family, halimbawa, family, N family, et family, ed family, lahat ng family. Letter E muna. Ed, N family, hen, men, ten, ben. Yan, di ba? So, yun. Kapag sa short A naman, tapos magsisimula ka sa an family, man, pan, van, can, dan. So, yan. Yun yung attack. So, introduce the word families. Ito na yun, sinabi ko sa inyo. Ito yun, bawa, ed family, egg family, and then N family. So, kasi, bawa, na-introduce mo na lahat ng letters, pwede mo na siyang ilagay dyan sa family ng et, wet, vet, set, net, pet, met, get, and jet. So, lahat na ng letter, consonant na naituro mo, pwede mo nang i-applyan ng word family. Part A, and so on. So, example, letter A, nasa letter A family na ako. So, syempre, magko-concentrate ako sa may letter M. So, introduce ko yung, When we put them together, we have am. So, yan, ganyan. And then, magpapakita na ako ng picture for vocabulary development. Ham, pam, jam. So, dapat yung gagamitin natin, yung medyo, yung within the context. Localization, contextualization, na alam ng bata. Bawa, gagamit tayo ng mga foreign, hindi siya applicable. Ito nga ham, medyo, kasi parang hindi nga ganyan yung alam ng mga bata sa ham. So, hindi ako nakakita ng picture na, yung picture na yung, alam nyo yun sa CDO, yun ang alam nila na ham. O, diba? Pero yung strawberry jam, alam nila. And then, merong tao na ang pangalan ay Pam. And then, kapag nabuo na ang mga words, nag-introduce ka na ng words, introduce mo na ngayon. Try to read them without the aid of the pictures. So, Dam, Ham, Pam, Jam, Sam, and Ram. And Ram. And then, step 6 is introduce the words and match it with the picture. So, yan. Pwede ka nang magpa-activity ngayon na this is a mug, which is the word for mug. So, madali nila yan mababasa kasi nga may pattern yung family. Ito yun, the UG family. Nasa UG family siya. So, mababasa na rin niya yan kasi na-introduce mo na yung at, na-introduce mo na yung short E, short A, short I, short O, and short U. And then, magkakaroon ka na dito ng parang configuration box na this is a ham. H-A-M spell. Yung dapat yung may malaki. Alam nila na pag mataas yung letter H, tapos mababa A-M. So, medyo ano yung ano dito, box. Step 8. Na-introduce mo na yung words. Unti-unti na tayong pupunta sa phrases. Introduce phrases to practice fluency. Yan. Then, reading and writing the phrases. Kanina, nagbabasa lang tayo, nagpo-produce ng sound. This time, pwede na silang magbasa and at the same time, write the word. And then, forming phrases. Paano tayo magpo-form ng phrases? Dito na papasok yung basics Dodge sight words na ni Edward Dodge. So, Pam and Sam. Jam and Ham. Sam's Ram. Okay, babasahan sila. And then, just like in the Marungko, meron ka na ditong phrase pero pwede ka na mag-check ng comprehension. What is in the picture? Ayan, sorry for this kasi wala tayong ram. Hindi pa siya na a pet, ram, a pet, cat. Yan. What is the pet? So, makikita through the aid of the picture, the pet is a ram. So, fell on Sam, tell to Sam. What fell on Sam? Ano yung magsasabi? Saan kukuha ng sagot yung bata? Based sa picture. Nakakaintindi na siya. Makita niya doon. O, dika? An apple fell on Sam. Okay. And then, introduce sentences and answering questions. May question na. Sam gets a ham for Pam. Who gets a ham for Pam? Sam. Dan sells jam. Who sells jam? It's Don. Okay. So, from the sentences, pwede na tayo gawa ng short story. Sam and Pam. Nakita niyo po, hindi ako lumalayo doon sa mga words na kanina pa nila na nababasa. Bakit? For mastery. Kasi pagka lagi nababasa ng bata at pala, ulit-ulit niya nababasa, madidevelop, ang galing ko na magbasa. Kanina ko pa yan nababasa, alam ko na talaga siya basahin. O, diba? So, nabuboost natin yung confidence ng bata. Sam and Pam, Sam has a pet ram, Pam has a ham. Sam, Pam, and the ram will go to the dump. And then, answer the question, what is the pet who has? Meron ka na dito. Kapag kasi nagtatanong tayo, pwede tayo mag-start with who. Katulad nito, parehas na who. Kung gusto mo mag-concentrate on who, itong dalawang in-introduce ko kanina is the question what. So, dun lang muna tayo. What? Tapos bukas, mag-concentrate ako sa who. Tapos, susunod, magkakaroon ako ng where. Diba? Unti-unti, nade-develop sa bata kung paano mag-answer ng question. So, yan. Ganun lang po yung gagawin natin sa pagtuturo gamit ang Fuller approach. Sa pagtuturo ng reading gamit ang Fuller approach. After niyan, di ba sabi ko nga kanina sa inyo, ang laging i-introduce lang muna mga ma'am ay ang CBC pattern lang ng short E, short A, short I, short O, and short U. Kapag master na yun ng bata, pwede na natin pasukan ng consonant blends, initial or final, consonant digraphs. Ito sa grade 3 na to. Kasi sa grade 3 to na i-introduce di ba? Yung consonant digraphs ayan. Pwede nang pagpasukan ng long vowel words ending in silent E. Ayan na kasi para hindi na magbabasa yung bata ng bake, hide, hose, kube. So, alam na nila na i-introduce mo na, it's silent. When we say silent, we don't produce the sound. Kaya you will say bake, hide, host, and cue. Yan. Words with vowel diphthongs, pwede na i-introduce. Nakita niyo po yung unti-unti, spiral progression. Hindi agad natin i-top-lock sa bata yung basahin mo to tapos story agad. So, talagang matatakot yung beginning readers doon. So, in spiral progression, from simple to complex ang approach ng Fuller. And then, pwede na tayo mag-introduce ng homonyms. And then, yan. Okay. Tapos, yung, meron ako dito ang sample. Ginawa kasi namin ito nung nakaraang webinar na on sa reading remediation. So we come up with this na katulad ng sinasabi ni Ma'am Ana, pwede rin gamitin ito for beginning readers, hindi lang pang remedial. So both for beginning and remedial reading, pwedeng magamit ang Marungko and Fuller approach. Lagi ko sinasama yung Marungko and dito kasi magkapatid sila no? Sa Filipino yon and sa English ito. So medyo ano lang yung approach sa English kasi nga meron tayong barrier na second language, medyo mahirap pag-iisipin ng mga bata. Pero kapag properly well presented sa bata ang approach na to, this will be very effective and hindi lang bata ang magbe-benefit as well as teachers kasi it would be easy for us to teach kapag ang learners natin are all readers. Diba? Dapat nga by grade 3, dapat all learners are readers para pag nag-bridging tayo to intermediate level, medyo hindi na maiiwan ang mga bata sa pagbabasa kasi doon wala nang reading. Supposedly, wala nang reading lesson in 4, 5, and 6 grade level. So this is the end of the presentation. I have a quote for you. Teachers who love teaching teach children to love learning. Pero dahil dito sa ating discussion, I will make some modification. Teachers who love teaching teach children to love reading. With that, good afternoon and thank you for listening. I hope meron po ako na-impart patungkol doon sa how we are going to teach beginning reading in English. Thank you po.
Thank you so much po, Ma'am Mia. Ayan,
yes, Ma'am
ang po ng presentation nyo, ng Fuller approach. Talagang very comprehensive ang yung kompleto. Ayan. So, bago talaga din natin ma-master yung pagtuturo ng reading, yung it takes consistent and perfect practice. Ayan. Yes. So, thank you so much po, Ma'am Mia. Welcome back, Ma'am Leia. Hello po.
Yes,
naglalagari po tayo ng session natin. Congratulations, Ma'am Mia.
Thank you po,
ma'am. Sinisilip na lang kita, ma'am, sa YouTube kasi nagkakaroon tayo ng separate session sa mga master teachers natin and principals. Pero nakita ko po yung delivery po ni Ma'am Mia po sa presentation po niya, malinaw yung kanyang pag-present, may mga samples po siyang binigay. Thank you so much, Ma'am Mia. Hopefully, nakatulong po ito ng malaki para sa ating mga K-3 teachers natin, yung mga inputs na binigay po ni Ma'am Mia with regards to the use of the Fuller approach for beginning reading natin. Thank you, Ma'am Mia.
Big ma'am. Thank you rin po, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Hopefully po, ito po ay na-remind ko po ulit sa mga MP natin kanina and school heads na sa monitor, pag-check ng kanilang weekly home learning plan at yung pag-a-apply ng kanilang mga natutunan dito sa ating ELLN webinar ay maipakita nila during the classroom observation, maipakita rin nila kapag sila ay nag-prepare ng kanilang mga learning materials na hindi na pala abakada ang gagawin natin learning materials para sa beginning reading. Maraming salamat, Ma'am Mia, and of course, to Ma'am Annalisa pa sa ating first speaker kanina. Okay, so, ayan, for 16 natin. Reminders, Ma'am Vange, yung kanilang attendance at saka yung evaluation po pala.
Opo, evaluation
Wait lang
link.
po, ha. I-share na po ba ang evaluation link natin for day 2?
Parang wala pa po, ma'am.
Okay, wala
Meron
pa.
na ma'am, nasa
Bandang
Sorry.
unahan. Ay, ito na pala
Dito
po.
po ang
Kanina
ating
pala.
evaluation link.
Opo. Ito na. So, pwede na nating i-copy and paste sa ating mga GC.
For day 2 evaluation link, yan, pakishare na lang po sa mga, paki-comment po kung nasasagutan po yan. Day 2 na evaluation link natin. Paki-send po sa mga kasama natin mga teachers na nasa YouTube. Dear teachers na nasa YouTube po, paki-ask na lang po sa mga co-teachers natin ang ating evaluation link for day 2 webinar. Na-access po ba? Kindly type yes.
Na-access po, Ma'am Leia.
Thank you.
Opo, chinek ko po ngayon. Ayan.
Okay, so paki-remind sila, Ma'am Vange, na sagutan ang ating
Evaluation link.
and attendance link. Huwag nilang
Opo.
kakalimutan.
Don't forget po, make sure nakapag-attendance po kayo for today and tomorrow din po. Ayan. Saka may
Yes.
evaluation link din for tomorrow. And then, Ma'am Leia, ano po, kasi kanina po while we're on break, na-check namin ni Teacher Hazel na may mga nag-answer din dun sa bugtungan natin sa YouTube. Kaya po, bibigyan din natin ng prize, syempre yung yung sumagot po doon. So, Ma'am Hazel, announce mo na sino yung nanalo doon sa YouTube na viewer natin.
Chan chan chan! Drum roll, please.
Yeah, excited.
Okay. Ang nakita nating name ay si... Teka, teach, nag-backread ako sorry. Oh, here. Teacher Lali Bodolio, who answered Payong. The first one to answer the word Payong.
Ayun.
From our live stream, YouTube live stream. Congratulations,
Pa-chat
Teacher
na lang
Lali
po kung
Bodolio.
anong school po kayo. And
Yes.
para ma-message po namin kayo. Ayan. So, saka please tell us how we can send po yung inyong GCash na premyo.
From Malanday po siya, ma'am.
Malanday, ma'am. Pwede
ELLN
niyo po
po,
kaya
grade 2.
i-message po sa akin yung niya? Paano kaya yun, Ma'am Leia? Masisend yung number po ni Ma'am Lali. Po. Yung, kailangan ko po yung phone number niya, ma'am. Thank you po.
Apo, ma'am. Send ko po kay Ma'am Leia.
You're welcome po, ma'am.
So, nandiyan na po yung evaluation link natin at saka attendance link. Okay.